And time.
Folks, that is your new Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII world record. Congratulations, Dessa.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to VerySydney on Team Choco.
Yeah, good luck on to the next runner and lead Team Choco. Best of luck.
All right, yeah, whoever's commentating Crystal Chronicles, we kind of just got down to a little bit of a downtime cutscene, so if you maybe want to introduce the game real quick, if you feel like it, go for it.
All right, congratulations, Dessa, on your new world record.
Thank you very much.
Sydney on Team Choco is starting Crystal Chronicles. This game was released in 2003. It was the return of Final Fantasy to Nintendo consoles after a long hiatus. This game's about 2-ish hours long, a little longer, but Sydney recently PB'd a few times. She's been practicing for this relay. So she now has a 2:03:05, I believe. 2 hours, 3 minutes, 5 seconds. That's a very good time considering the previous world record was 2:03:10. But then Neviet's got a 2:01 fairly recently, a few months back. This game is an action RPG. You move around. It's not really turn-based. It's kind of live action. A lot of the stuff you'll be seeing in this game is 3 hits. So like whenever Sydney's attacking someone, she'll do a combo of 3 hits. Yeah, there's a lot of downtime. It's about a 4-minute cutscene here. A big thing about the run is that we start in multiplayer. So this game had 4-player functionality. You could have 4 Game Boy Advances hooked up to your GameCube via link cables, and you could play with 4 players. Each player used their Game Boy Advance as like a little menu screen. And,
basically, it allowed the game to continue to run while players menued.
Yeah.
When you bought the game new, it actually came with 2 Game Boy Link cables, which was kind of nice.
It was really cool. And we start the run in multiplayer because there's a glitch that happens about like 10-ish minutes into the run. So yeah, we'll look out for that. We'll explain that when we get there. But go ahead.
I was going to say, to note, starting in multiplayer does have a downside of normally when you play single player, the game kind of compensates for it a little bit by giving you something to carry the chalice, which you'll see it when the game actually starts, but it is a little bit slower initially, but it is faster to start in multiplayer than it is to save and quit twice, which is what it would take otherwise. So.
Yeah. So Sydney will have to carry the chalice through the first level here, but after that she'll be in single player. So it's a fun little unique thing that probably no other game really has. I don't know. But yeah, we got a bunch of
The only other
downtime.
game I can think of that used the Game Boy Advance link cable significantly was Four Swords Adventure on the GameCube.
Yeah.
For a similar reason. Basically, the idea is that if everybody has their own screen, you can do interesting things with that. So in Four Swords Adventure, you could go into houses. Not everybody would have to be like teleported in, which is what would normally have to happen. In Crystal Chronicles, it just means that you can do your menuing in real time without pausing the game for everybody.
It also has a neat little application at the end of the first level, but we'll see that. So getting into kind of the beginning menuing here.
Kind of characters and town setup. So you got to name your town and name your character and choose your race and family occupation. Is there anything I missed with that? Is that pretty much it?
No, I mean your character skin, but
right.
That doesn't really matter. It's just whatever you like.
So interesting to know. So one thing that's going to be interesting to note is that our runners actually will have different character types in this. For some reason, it's just different runners have different mains. Most Western runners main Selkie, which you can see with Sydney, but a lot of Japanese runners have experimented with Plavit and Lilty. Each one of them has different upsides and downsides. Selkie is currently considered to be the fastest, but it's a 2-minute difference at most. And Clavet is a much safer, very consistent run, so there's a little bit of risk almost involved with it, although a lot less than there used to be.
Yeah, Uke we hardly even bother with. Like, it's just 8 minutes slower.
Yeah, Uke sucks. So,
Yeah.
like, the different races, each one, the idea was that you had, like, Clavets were supposed to be focused on defense, Lilties were meant to be focused on offense, Ukes were meant to be focused on magic, and Selkies were kind of meant to be jack of all trades, I think.
They were
Like,
kind of
I
like
think
the
it was either that or they're
Phoebe-
meant to be focused around charge shots, one of the two.
Yeah, they're like the charge shot. They're kind of like the more thievy race, if you
Yeah.
want to look at it that way.
So, magic is not particularly strong, given that you can't start with it at any level and you can't cast it quickly. So we go into the first location here. My stream's a little bit behind because I'm still working on getting the thing set up.
So yeah, we see Rennie now as well. Now we have two different runs going at the same time. And yeah, we have Rennie right now going into the final chapter as well. We have just a few text boxes here, which we it's basically just telling us a little bit about Genesis cost, and then she will have to collect the 7 goddess material that I was talking about earlier. We have a certain order where we usually take them, just like as we routed them and what way would be the best. You know, there's one room where it's still not quite sure if it's better to do it the way I did it or maybe taking the other way around. Like I ran counterclockwise, and you can go around clockwise as well, which might be a tiny bit faster.
It's within a few seconds.
Yeah, even if it's not detrimental. And yeah, you saw earlier in my run that I got the egg encounter. There are 2 other encounters, the Gargoyle and the Marlboro. The Marlboro is very dangerous because if it hits you with that breath or anything, I'm not sure which status elements it can cause, but it can cause very undesired ones. And she'll have to watch out for that if a Marlboro spawns, but it's very unlikely. It's more likely that she'll get Gargoyle. I say it's unlikely. It can still happen, yeah.
You say it's unlikely as I get a Marlboro.
Oh no.
Gosh. Well,
So
find
the
out what
only
it
good-
causes. Stun, silence, poison.
The only good thing about that is that Marlboro, once it attacks, it's a little bit slow, but in this case she got hit. She has poison, silence, stun,
So
which
Sydney's
is
going
actually
to the-
pretty insane. Yeah.
Sydney's going into the first boss here. It's a giant crab. She'll be trying to defend as best as she can against swipes and like head bashes. Otherwise, it's just beat the boss to death, basically. Not much else to say about the boss fight. I mean,
The one thing that is
She'll,
interesting to note, you'll see that there's the little circle. If she goes outside of that, she'll start taking a poison dot, essentially.
right.
That's the chalice that we were talking about earlier. It's a little bit annoying in this boss because if he could push that chalice around and kind of stand outside of it where you really can't go in on it. The boss can also slow you. What you see is the little circle over her head, which is very frustrating to deal with.
But she handled it like a champ. Yeah, so the kind of the overarching story of this game, originally you're just adventuring to find Mir for your town. Mir prevents the miasma that's kind of all over the world now from getting to people and like poisoning them, essentially. As the game goes on, it starts to get, a lot of things reveal themselves, and you eventually stop the miasma at the end of the run. So that's kind of the basic story of the game.
So right here, she's going to be picking up a artifact that's essentially the equivalent to level ups in this game. Killing monsters actually doesn't make you stronger. You can get temporary buffs and levels by picking these up as you go through. but you also get permanent buffs by picking one at the end of every level you complete.
Yep, so she got a green beret there. That's actually perfect RNG. She killed a goblin and picked that up, and then she was able to take it at the end of the level. And yeah, artifacts are like your main way of becoming stronger throughout the game.
Right. That and equipment, of course.
Yes, yeah.
So here, Rini is going the other way around to the save point just to save before G Regicide, because this fight is very scary, as me and Skate covered earlier. Basically, most of his attacks, except for a normal swipe, most of the attacks except for a normal swipe defeat you within one hit, even through a wall, which it basically means that wall isn't that useful in this fight because you have to dodge everything either way. But it's just a fight where you have to be very wary of what he does with his delayed claw attack and his other moves that he can do. Normal swipe, the Trifandaga. He has a lot of different moves.
So real quick, Sydney got into what we call encounters. Basically, every time you hit a cross-section on the map that is not an actual dungeon, you have a chance of getting an encounter. This one is relatively short, but...
Speaking of claw attack, I should have gone Barrier first. I think I got to put things down now.
Yeah, some
you got it.
some encounters in Crystal Chronicles can be very long. There's an infamous one that's 50 plus seconds. So if they get that encounter,
The worst goes up to about a minute and a half, and then
yeah,
at any point get ones that are about a minute long.
yeah,
Regardless, the one that's a minute and a half, you have to get really unlucky to actually get. So right here, she's executing a glitch. On the actual Game Boy Advance, which is why we're starting in multiplayer mode, there's a glitch where the game doesn't reset the money value in your inventory properly when you drop it, if you look at a letter first. So by looking at that letter first, it kind of like blocks the amount of money you have in your inventory. So you drop it, and the game like remembers that you dropped it, but doesn't update the inventory. So you kind of drop the number even though you don't actually have that much money. And the game doesn't let you go negative money. So you do this 5, 6, and then 5 times, and we have all the money we need for the rest of the entire run.
we actually do it 5, 5, and 5, so we get 2,500. I don't know if ToneB does 5, 6, 5.
Oh, it used to be 5, 6, 5.
Most people now do 5, 5, 5 just because it's
Okay,
easier.
I'm a little bit out of date. I haven't
Yeah,
done this in 4 years, so.
I remember you used to do 5, 6, 5, and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's unnecessary to do the 6 in the middle.
It didn't cost very much time, and it
Yeah,
was enough to make sure I had
it
enough
really-
for the entire.
It really doesn't matter that much, but it is time, so it's
Yeah.
So she just bought a bunch of stuff.
My soul,
Got like
corrupted
mithril
by
armor,
vengeance,
mithril belt, and then
hath
the warrior's
endured
weapon.
torment
So she's set
to
on
find
defense
the
for
end
the
of
rest
the
of the run.
journey.
She doesn't have to worry about
in my
like
own
damage at all.
salvation.
At least not in the sense of like getting new gear or anything like that.
You're late.
Right here, she's doing a save reset.
This is
it's
going to
just-
allow us to get out of the multiplayer mode and into single player, which is much.
And she's switching over to
You
GameCube
have
controller now, so she doesn't have a
succeeded,
GBA
Angeal's
anymore.
spirit,
She's on GameCube
and
controller.
carry
A
it
fun
out
thing
of
about this game,
Sephiroth within
you can plug in a GBA to your second port or third or fourth.
Thus the
That's
three
fourth.
friends are reunited
Well,
once
I
again.
always used to do second port, but
Oh,
you
is it?
can
Okay,
plug.
I always thought it was just
yeah,
fourth only.
I think you can do it in
And
any port, but you can
Loveless
like if you
is
plug in a
reenacted.
GBA while you're in
No.
single player mode,
Open
you can
your
have
eyes,
your map up,
Genesis.
so you can see where everything is, and you also, for the purpose of this speed run, you can see how much strength you have. There are items called they're
when
fish
the
and meat,
war of the
and they
beasts
give you
brings
+2
about
strength
the
for
world's
5 minutes.
end.
So
I-
once that 5 minutes runs
I've
out,
come here
then
to help you.
she'll have to eat
The
another meat,
goddess
and then she'll have +2
descends
strength
from
again.
the sky.
Sometimes, not always.
Wings of light
Sometimes,
and
yeah.
dark spread
Uh,
afar.
Basically, something that's
She
very important
guides
about
us
stats in this
to
game is that
bliss.
nothing matters until you hit a
Her
multiple of
gift,
5.
Everlasting.
At least for offense, I assume it works that way for
Yeah,
both.
I think it's the same.
What is that?
So every time you can get to a new
The
multiple of
gift
5,
of
you
the
want to do everything you
goddess.
can to do that,
A heavenly
Yeah.
which is
boon
where the meat
found
comes into
only
play. But
in
if you're,
Gomorrah.
3 away and that +2
I
doesn't
thought the
actually help
cells
you,
were the gift.
you'll
Yeah.
see them just not worry
There
about their
are
strength.
various interpretations.
Otherwise, meat is used
I
to
don't
heal.
understand.
That's your
ponder
basic
the
items.
mystery
We also have
is in
Phoenix Downs,
itself
obviously. Phoenix
a
Downs just
gift.
revive you immediately. in this game.
We will all
If you're a multiplayer, you can use a
join
Phoenix
the
Down
live
like a
stream.
life magic, essentially.
You
But yeah, it's
are no exception.
she's having a bit of trouble with these enemies here.
So
planet
you'll note that now that she's in single player mode, she
has
has the
become
little
my
Moogle following
guardian.
her around.
Yep.
That carries her chalice. He does get tired after a while. You can kind of, if it's based on how far he runs for the most part. You kind of get a feel for when he starts to get tired, and then you just take the chalice from him, carry it for a little bit, and he's like, "Okay, I feel good again," and he'll let you carry it again.
Yeah. A lot of people casually didn't like Mog very much, but he turns out to be pretty useful in the speedrun. It's not great to have to pick up the chalice, but do what you gotta do.
We got Rennie starting Genesis Avatar fight. Like we said, 24 costly punches. Dessa did get a 4 cycle, so Rennie does have an opportunity to make up some time here for Team Mog. Reminder that she is using a barrier and barrier instead of wall. Just a little bit of a strat difference, picking 2 materia instead of 1. Has its ups and downs. And I think Dessa got the Knights as well. Is that right?
So, in the beginning, there will always be 4 of the Scythe guys, but later on, I did get the Scythes, which means it was a little bit slow in the first phase in terms of damage. If you get, I think it's 12 costly punch, so if you get around half of his HP, he will spawn 3 different ones: a spellcaster, a Scythe guy, and a swordsman.
It's sort of fast for me.
And yeah, we'll see how the fight goes for Rennie. He actually put the sword down immediately. That's pretty good.
Just a free time save there.
Like you saw, for me, it took like, I think 15 seconds for him to put the sword down.
Yeah.
Also, Rennie got very lucky. All of the Scythe guys used their attack at the same
Except
time.
now we just lost all the time.
And
Oh gosh.
yeah, now it's getting a little bit...
Yeah. This fight's no joke, and yeah, she lost her Phoenix down on the
Oh,
G Regicide fight.
and that means we'll have to watch the cutscene again and go into Genesis Avatar again.
Yeah.
But yeah, this fight, as you saw, is not easy.
It's not
very...
a joke.
You die very quickly there.
Do you know what the culprit was there, Rennie?
I got trapped between them and couldn't get out.
Mm-hmm.
So this level in Crystal Chronicles, you're escorting this minecart to the end of the level, to the end of the section here, and then basically you're just going to the boss at the end. There's a bunch of other stuff, but we just skip all of it because there's no reason to do any of it.
This level is pretty important in glitchless for a different reason, but in the Japanese glitched run, it's pretty insignificant for the most part. You just kind of run through it. You do want to make sure you don't accidentally lose the cart. If you hit it the wrong time, you can send it in the wrong direction, and it's not good.
Yeah,
but
she had to step on those pressure plates in order to make sure she sent it the correct way.
Loveless again.
Yeah, it looks like she's taking some safety Phoenix Downs too.
You
which
have
is
succeeded,
a good idea.
Yeah, makes sense for a marathon setting like this. Again, as long as you're holding one of those in your inventory, she should have 4 inventory slots right now. You can increase those with pockets later.
The 3 friends are reunited once
you can
again.
just hold one of those in your inventory. It's just an automatic. It's basically a fairy in Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
No.
Instant revives you when you die.
Open your
Doesn't do
eyes,
that in
Genesis.
multiplayer because it's meant to be used on other players. But in single player, it's much nicer. You'll see she's sitting on Niku. That's neat. That's going to up her strength by 2. One weird difference between the Japanese and US versions. In Japanese, it remembers your food boost between screen transitions. On the US version, it doesn't.
From the sky.
For whatever reason.
Wings of light and dark
I think it was like meant to be a glitch, and then they patched it out or something.
Probably.
But it's such a weird small change. I don't know why they noticed or did it.
The gift
It
of
could
the
also be
goddess.
something they fixed when they
A
like
heavenly
maybe they fixed it
boon
when they
found
fixed the
only
glitch
in
with the money.
Benora.
Yeah.
I thought the cells were the gift.
There are various interpretations.
This boss can do a couple things. He can run up to you and try to
don't
punch you, or he can try
understand.
to cast fire. In general,
To
doesn't
ponder
really
the
matter too much.
mystery
Which
is in
at the
itself
end he tries to
a
go into like a
gift.
desperation explosion attack. We're
We
just
will
gonna kill him
all
before he does it. I don't even think it would kill him
join the
or
light
kill Sydney
stream.
even if she let it hit her, but
Yeah.
You
because we are
so
very,
no
very, very strong
exception.
for this point in the game thanks to the money glitch.
The
At
planet
the end of every level, you get a.
has become
if
my
the level
guardian.
had a drop of mirror already, you get a drop of mirror, and it's 3 per year, and there's 5 years in the speed run, so we're getting 15 drops of mirror throughout the run. Actually, less than that.
Less than that.
Yeah.
Should be 12.
Yeah.
Actually-
and then
Keep talking to her.
13.
Don't
Yeah,
let it
something
take
like that.
over.
Yeah, 13, because you need the 4 years and then plus 1.
Monster, you're one of
Yeah.
us.
So, and then the mail Moogle comes, and he's like, "Oh, here's a letter from your family. Do you want to read it?" And we just skip it because they don't give us anything that we need. We already have enough money for the entire game. We don't need anything from our family.
So Sydney picked up the artifact. There was an extra heart, so she's gonna have 5 hearts for the rest of the run now. That's a permanent health increase essentially. You would know actually. Do they still go for 6 hearts before at the end of the run?
I haven't gone for 6 hearts in a long. I don't think Sydney or Nev or maybe Tonbi does. I'm not sure, but
So
yeah.
the 5 hearts is great. 6 is enough to survive anything in the game.
Yeah.
If you're at full health. If you're at
With
5, the
gear.
final boss can one-shot you. So that was why usually I would try to get 6. But
Oh, so once Tonbi starts here after Rinny's run, he will actually be starting in single player, and then going into multiplayer before IDG Infinite Code Glitch.
oh, he starts in single player.
Yeah.
Rennie
Well,
going in for round 2, by the way.
Yeah, we'll let you guys take over.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think she's got it this time. Was that another quick sword drop? If anyone was watching. Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah,
quick.
it looked pretty quick. Yeah, it
Yeah.
didn't take as much time as it could have been. Like you could have
Yeah.
waited an additional like 10 seconds. I think.
Already a tight call there. You can see her, like, she's kind of in a position now where she'll be hitting the scythe people while trying to hit the material on the sword, which kind of works out if you happen to be in that position. I think that was 8 or 10 costly punch.
Yeah, I didn't really count it. But yeah, as we said earlier, it's 23 costly punches and a normal attack, or 24 costly punches if you don't have scan, because you would usually, or at least I myself don't usually count that.
Yeah, attack just being a small optimization, just to do a little bit of a faster action.
So you see right
Round
here as
2.
well, in between the sword drops, Genesis Avatar does attacks. The first one is mostly, most of the time, Shadow Flare. The second one
Actually
would
based
be,
on its HP. On the
yeah,
sword.
it's based on the HP. Oh, okay, yeah, then it's if you don't deal enough damage, he will start with Shadow Flare. Otherwise, he probably goes immediately into Purgatorial Wave, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So
Purgatorial Wave being his basically super move.
It's a lot more
Obviously screen.
noticeable. No, first round.
Yeah, I think if you can really get a lot of hits in next round, it could be a 3 cycle.
Mm.
So on,
Depends on how
on
many
Crystal
pads
Chronicles,
you hate for me.
Hmm.
so in Crystal Chronicles, at the beginning of this level, there's a chest that has a 1 in 4 chance of dropping what we want. It's Tatsuji no Buki, which is Master's Weapon, and we need to crack that for the rest of the run, and then we'll have all our gear. Sydney got it first try.
Oh my
so
god.
that's a 1 in 4.
Good trap, man.
That's actually
Oh god.
pretty interesting. Marathon RNG. Oh,
Rennie
man.
was right at the end.
Oh. And right there, you saw she got trapped because of the sheer amount of enemies. And you see it very quickly. You barely have enough time to think about it.
Yeah.
And you just die from the enemies because they're pretty. They are. All of them, or at least the swords guy and the scythe guy, are really nimble. And the spellcasters are usually flying off screen and casting spells. But just because of how quick the swordsman and the scythe guys are, it can be very hard.
Yeah. And no joke, Rennie is definitely easily the most experienced runner of this game. And if she's having a difficult time with this boss, you know it's a hard boss. So, it's definitely not all the runner's fault. Sure.
So real quick on Crystal Chronicles, there's that bit of issue there getting. You have to get that key to the pedestal in the first area, but there's a lot of enemies, so getting it through is sometimes a bit tricky because you drop the keys whenever you get hit. And then to get to this boss to even fight him, you have to kill those two guys. There's this kind of a safe-ish spot on the stairs. Hopefully, he's not going to do. He has a teleport attack he can do. He's cooperating a lot right now.
Yeah.
He can run away and basically be completely
Love this
untargetable
again.
if he wants to be, but he
Looks
is
like
cooperating
he
a lot
got it.
right now.
Yeah. That was basically
You have
perfect boss fight.
succeeded Angeal's spirit.
So
and
you have no
carry
control
it
over
by
whether
the
he teleports or
Sephiroth
not.
within
It's
you.
just straight up whether or not the
Yeah,
boss wants
it's
to be nice or not.
complete RNG.
Thus the three
In
friends are
general, he
reunited
likes
once
to teleport
again.
less when you stay like on that staircase instead of getting close to him, but he still will just like randomly
And
decide, yeah, I
Loveless
don't like being
is
here, and just move.
reenacted.
And
No. Open your
It's
eyes,
awful.
Genesis.
this is looking like a solid run from Sydney outside of encounter luck.
When the war of the beasts
2 encounters at
brings
this point
about
is
the
extremely
world's
unlucky.
end,
I've come here.
She hasn't
To
gotten
help
Luda
you.
yet, though, so
the goddess descends
Knock on
from
wood.
the sky. Wings
So
of
that's,
light
another
and
strength
dark
upgrade, I believe?
spread afar.
yep.
She guides us to bliss. Her gift, everlasting.
What is that?
Another thing we haven't really
the
mentioned.
gift of the goddess.
That's so.
A heavenly boon
Wait,
found
is this one
only
fixed?
in Benora.
This was a
I
fixed
thought
encounter.
the cells were the
Yeah,
gift.
this one always happens.
There are
Yeah.
various interpretations.
Another thing we haven't really mentioned.
I don't
the
understand.
chalice that we carry around
To
has
ponder the
4
mystery
different
is in
main
itself
elements.
a gift.
You have wind, water, fire, and earth.
We will all
Throughout the run,
join
instead
the
of
life
putting the
stream.
chalice onto like pedestals,
You
um,
are
we
no
change
exception.
the element at on the overworld at the
The
end
planet
of whichever dungeon we're doing.
has
Um,
become
It's
my
just
guardian.
faster that way. There,
You don't have to
there's this-
sneak out the little pedestal either.
Yeah,
It
There-
does give you some minor, like, I believe it protects you against different status ailments a little bit, if I remember correctly.
yeah. I think wind makes it so that rock moves don't stagger you or something like that. There's weird stuff like that with it too, but in
It's
general,
not something we
don't
could really control too much of, just because you need specific elements to pass through the miasma stream, which is what you saw us doing right there.
Yeah.
I thought I'd just interject for a second. We do actually do a strat with the Chalice, Celebration Cave, which is a dungeon that's coming later. We have the Chalice at Wind. It's actually, we needed it Wind anyway, but it's convenient because it protects you from the electric attacks the little jellyfish do.
That's what it is. Yeah.
That's right. There's another encounter.
Yep. There is also another strat that's like recently been kind of brought up at the end or at the beginning of Goblin Wall 1, where we try to get the Master's Weapon. It's actually faster to put the chalice on the pedestal that's right next to it than to run back to the entrance if we're trying for Master's Weapon a few times. We don't want to be in that situation because we'd rather just get it first try, but that is a tiny little thing to do.
We make the Master Opus here. Sydney should be just continuing on towards the next dungeon. I believe Rennie's doing another attempt at the final boss. So
Yeah, just started her third go at it.
yeah, we'll let you guys take over.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, she was really close last time. Like, had to have been within like 5
Yeah.
goblin punches.
It wasn't far away anymore.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. These guys,
What the heck?
they want my blood, apparently.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, they're... Sheesh. They're all delaying it in a perfect way that even if you dodge the first one, the next one will get you.
Whoa.
And
She just got hit like by 3 of them simultaneously. Like, that's what are you supposed to do?
Probably the worst.
this is
ad I've ever
extremely
seen.
unlucky right now.
Yeah. Kind of the story of the day in terms of the 2 runners.
You-
Really not getting much love from the boss luck.
Yeah, you usually don't even see that kind of fight.
Right. Chat's got your back.
Go, Rini, go.
So another problem that makes the Genesis Avatar fight a lot more dangerous is that
Wow.
that Rini lost the Phoenix down on G Regicide already, because as I said, the claw attack, that one hit her and killed her, and as stated earlier, the claw attack has a really weird delay.
Isn't it? Or no, wait, no, it's percentage, isn't it?
Yeah, it's percentage.
Yeah.
I need you away from the other enemies.
Probably the best example today of how, even if you're at low health, the percentage is still only going to get you pretty much to the same point you were already at. So it's lucky that a lot of the big attacks like that are percentage based in that manner.
Mm. Okay, you saw 107 damage. That's really. It's just the percentage of what was left.
Right.
And now here, it'll probably be a 4 cycle. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
If that
At
should
least
happen,
Good.
yeah, if that should happen, then between the next 2 cycles, Genesis Avatar will use Flare, which Flare and Ultima have the same kind of animation. One is a little bit more red, which is Flare, and Ultima is basically white greenish. The problem with those is that the dodge timing, just like for Drain and Silent, is relatively counterintuitive. So what you would do is either really learn the dodge timing, which is really hard. I myself don't like dodging it.
You can also just
Or
run.
you can guard it, because usually you can only guard attacks from the front, but for attacks like that, it doesn't really matter too much because it's all over the field. So instead of taking, I don't even know how much damage exactly it deals, but Flare, I think it does 700 damage with M Barrier. He didn't actually do that. That's interesting.
A nice note, Rennie was waiting until the very last second to try to cast Barrier and M-Barrier before the sword came down, so it's not running out by the end of the time that the sword's down. It's an important thing to know, not just casting it right away when you can.
Because if you would cast it early before the sword is down, you would basically waste the downtime.
Right.
Just like 10 to 15 seconds, and that can be crucial because
Man, they are
usually
just
you're
ganging up on
busy-
me. This is hard.
Yeah.
you're busy punching that sword, and you most of the time can't really watch the barrier and M barrier status on the top left. Okay, this looks like 5 cycle.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. It's better than dying. Either way. So here, right here, he's gonna use Flare. The hit timing is very late though. In this case, she got hit, but he saw 800 damage. Luckily, she survived that.
Another Purgatorial Wave.
Let me actually refresh. I'm a few seconds behind. Didn't change anything.
Alright. This should be the final stretch here of the fight.
Yeah, there are probably like 2 or 3 punches left at this point. So,
Okay, finally coming up.
Yeah, very good. Alright.
nice.
Yeah, Ghoul Ash, if you want to talk about some stuff for a couple minutes. Kotombi-san, Nifun.
So I see there's already a split on Chrysco. The run is not over yet. There is one more fight. But
Sorry, my bad. I panicked.
I wish it was over.
so the
In due
last
time.
fight, it's a lot easier than the fight we just had, but it's
Still
not
scary.
it's still scary because Jens is very nimble. He can do crits if he hits you from the back, just like you can crit other enemies. And he has a few attacks that are very strong, being homing, and Flash usually doesn't hit you. Flash can be painful, but it's very well telegraphed, so you're usually able to dodge it. And then there is an attack where I can't recall the name, where he summons swords. That one can be devastating if you're not able to dodge it properly. And just in general, after
the attack can be painful too.
Yeah, a dancing sword. And after every costly punch, he has a chance to just counter you immediately, either with a sword or with a kick. You don't want to have either of those, but for that matter, you usually want to do a costly punch and then dodge right after, just to not get hit.
So
Or you can
interesting
take the hit
fact
or dodge immediately.
about going to this fight that I learned during No Curse Ring, you get a full heal, so you're set to 100% of everything.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Oh, that's really helpful, yeah. So on emulator, there's actually a tiny difference here, because on emulator the fight loads faster. Okay, it's apparently possible on console. That's why I wasn't sure. So you saw that Rini got that one punch in before he enchanted his sword, and during that enchantment he has armor that he can't take any damage. He's basically just invincible.
So yeah, Maelstrom time, like final time, is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Me on that last hit with the sword.
Rennie, just a reminder to call out when you're done.
Yeah. And done.
Yeah, that's a
Great job.
What was that avatar?
Yes.
Yeah, way to get through it.
It's Kotombi
Right.
starts, right?
Yes.
Kotombi, Hajime Kara.
All right, well, yeah, we'll go ahead and hand it over to the Crystal Chronicles crew. Thank you all for
Let's say,
watching
if you guys need to wrap
Crisis
up,
Core.
you guys can wrap up a little bit real quick if you guys want to.
Yeah. I mean, not much else to say. Yeah, you all can see how brutal this run can be sometimes. It is unforgiving, to say the least. But yeah, we had two great showings today. Dessa getting the new world record. It was really awesome to see. So yeah, thank you, Rennie MT and Dessa, for the great runs today. Make sure you follow them on Twitch and various social media. I'll definitely link them up in the chat. Yeah, hopefully you all enjoy the rest of the weekend rather, for the relay. And yeah, take it away, Crystal Chronicles. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you all for having us.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
Dessa,
thank
on
you for
your
having
world
us.
record.
Thank you very much. And thanks for Rini and Skate as well for joining me on this. And yeah, thanks for everyone watching. Take care and have fun with Crystal Chronicles.
Alrighty, so while Kotombi-san is going through the opening of the game, Sydney is doing Veilus Sluice. You might notice that we did skip a dungeon called Moshette Manor. Moshette Manor's biggest problem is you have to kill literally every enemy in it to actually beat it, which takes a very long time, given that there's like 5 load screens. So even though you have to do an extra load and have an extra encounter chance, you still save a pretty ridiculous amount of time.
And you also have to wait for the pressure plates to go back to your race's symbol, because the doors won't open unless
that's right, yeah,
your
that's
symbol.
true.
Yeah. So
It's a very, very slow dungeon.
Yeah, and the boss isn't super great either. You have a king and a queen, and you have to kill the queen before you kill the king or something like that.
You can kill the king first, but the queen heals him if you don't kill him super fast. So.
It's just
bad, so we skip it.
Yeah.
That we do Veilus Sluice, which is a relatively quick dungeon. This boss is kind of hilarious, if I remember correctly. He's got like one attack that actually hits at his feet, and it's pretty telegraphed.
Yeah. It's just the circle of fire basically that you have to worry about. This one right here.
Yeah. To note, if you are set on fire, you take double damage from attack, so it is kind of bad to get set on fire, but
you do also run faster. So sometimes it's nice to be set on fire, like at the end of Goblin Wall. If you run faster with the key, that can be a good thing in some circumstances. But yeah, finishing up Velus Luce. She went through Tita Village. In that level, there's a bunch of
we could talk it
webs.
over when Kotombi-san gets there.
Yeah, that's true too.
So that was why I wasn't in any real rush to talk about a lot of things while Crisis Core was going, because we do have another runner going through.
We have another runner going through. That'll
Basically
be good.
So also, I'm going to switch over because I want to hear more Kaze no Ne. I forgot you.
Oh, it's such a good song.
It's amazing that I ran this game pretty seriously for like a year. I don't want to think how many times I heard this song. It still doesn't really get old.
Yeah, I always, I mean, I'm from America, right? I think we're both from America, so
Yeah.
I always remember the English lyrics, but hearing the Japanese vocals they're so much better.
I don't agree. They're both just really good.
They are both very good, but I think that I personally like the Japanese lyrics, or the Japanese vocals better.
So that's another strength upgrade for Sydney, by the way.
Yep.
Kombi-san is just now finishing the opening with that little scroll across. So something we didn't talk about actually in character setup. So again, you choose your race, your look, your gender, and your family profession. And we didn't talk about family profession at all, but we're going to choose merchant.
Right.
Since we get infinite money, we can buy anything we need from our dad. You might have seen my glitchless Ryan at Limit Break 4 years ago. I don't know if anybody's even still around from then, but you'll notice that I was a fisherman in that, or no, I was a rancher.
Yeah.
I believe.
So you can get a whole ton of meat.
Yeah, basically the main thing is you're buying a bunch of food, but being able to buy it is a lot better than having to pick it up individually.
Yeah, it's a lot faster, and you get more at the beginning. So if you're not confident in your beginning for whatever reason, then you have a ton of meat. Sydney with another encounter. I can't remember if this one's guaranteed.
I don't believe it is. Usually if there's a guaranteed encounter, it's almost immediately after a dungeon.
Yeah, this is a thief encounter.
Oh, that's two thief encounters. I think that's gonna have the potential for the longest encounter you'll see in the run.
Yeah. Thief encounters are also kind of funny because they can steal an item, but a lot of the times the item they steal is meat because we have so much of it. I don't know. Sometimes they if your parents give you a seed or something. Sometimes they steal the seed. Yeah, they're.
I'm trying to think if they've ever stolen anything useful. I don't think they've ever stolen Mithril.
No, I don't. I've never seen them steal a piece of gear or something.
Okay.
Mithril in.
I have a story.
Bad one.
You have a story about thieves?
I have in fact had my mithril stolen by the thieves before.
Oh no.
It is awful.
That's awful.
I didn't even realize they had stolen it until I got to Morris Pass to make the master
Actually,
and I was like, oh my god, they actually
Have you ever run
did that.
glitchless, or English?
I have not run glitchless, but
Okay,
I did
I'm
the
just
guide
curious.
for it.
Mithril is crazy important in glitchless.
Yeah.
Because you have to get
need to
3
sell
of it,
it.
and then you have to sell 2 of them to have enough money for the run. So.
I also haven't run glitchless, but I'm kind of familiar with the route because I remember watching your run and Tianaka's run.
I prefer running glitchless just because it makes the early game a little bit less easy at times.
Yeah.
It does. There's a lot more randomness in it, which is why it's not great for a relay race like this.
So
one thing about Clavet that you'll notice is that actually, because it starts at lower strength, he's actually going to be doing a lot more magic against the first boss. That's just because the strength value, Clavets are meant to be the defensive race. They have, which ironically they have a worse dodge than Selkies, but
yeah,
worse guard. But since their magic stat is higher than their attack, getting early fire. Something we didn't talk about here, he's actually going to throw the oil down here. It's kind of a fun little strat. And try to see if he can catch this guy on fire with the oil, which will do bonus damage.
We didn't get too much time to talk about the actual strats in the levels, but now since Kotombi started, we can talk about that a bit more.
Yeah.
He's killing these 2 goblins. You need the key, obviously, and then the artifact can be helpful. He didn't get a green beret, sadly. He got I think that's a double. What is that? Double axe, I think. So that's not perfect. Actually, I don't know for Clavat. I think it's different.
It should be the same artifacts regardless.
Yeah. Most of them
So you will
should be
notice
the same.
that Sydney is going through the mushroom forest again. After you beat a dungeon, after 2 years after beating a dungeon, we'll have more of the mirror, right? It's the name of it.
Yeah, mirror.
It'll have more mirror. Really, what
Yeah.
this run kind of becomes is a blitz to year 5.
Yeah.
So right now we're
year-
just trying to get to that as quickly as possible.
Yeah, because in year 5, the I don't even.
We'll talk about it when we get there. We got 2 boss fights going on at the same time. So you'll notice that the Marlboro now has a lot more health than it did the first time Sydney fought him. That's just a product of there are 3 different levels. There are 3 different, I guess, tiers to each level, depending on how many times you've cleared them. It makes them harder. They'll get different attacks and different minor changes.
There were also more enemies.
Just now finishing up the crab. You'll notice that you kind of destroy parts of his body. Once you destroy all the other ones, you kind of lose the ability to do anything other than try to zap you. Getting zapped is still problematic because it can stun you, but
and he can jump around, which loses a bunch of time. That's no fun. But
you will see like how much easier that fight looks when you have Mog carrying your chalices. You don't have to worry about him running outside of the circle and just standing outside of it and taunting you.
Yeah. Both on the letter screen. This is a pretty boring section. LittleTonbi, since he started in single player, he can't equip a fish on this screen. Normally, with Selkie and I think also with Lilty, you're able to still use the GBA. So you can equip a fish without losing any time, and then you'll have a fish on your hotbar. Where normally I think you'd have like 2 Phoenix Downs or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so LittleTonbi's getting.
You might have noticed Sydney there checked her artifacts to see what she got. There's a +2 and a +1 strength. She took the +2. Again, you want to get to those multiples of 5 as quickly as possible. Also, holy cow, this encounter lock. I think that this one's this is not fixed.
I think this is the 4th thief? 3rd or 4th?
This one fixed? I'm trying to remember. It's been a little too long.
This one's a fixed encounter, so
okay, it's fixed. I just saw the thieves again. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, some encounters you're guaranteed to get. Most of the time, it's like right after a dungeon.
It's usually the first step after a dungeon. It'll be like year 2, dungeon 1. That's kind of how it works. Year 3, dungeon 2. You'll see right here, Sydney's gonna cross the river here.
Yeah, she's gonna do 2 dungeons across the river, Celebration Cave and Daemon's Court. Celebration Cave is relatively... The level is easy enough, but the boss can be a bit tricky if you don't know what you're doing. So once we get to the boss, we can talk about that.
Yeah, you'll see that LittleTonbi is setting up for a save and quit so we can swap the multiplayer for the Infinite Guild glitch.
Yep.
In the meantime, we are heading to Celebration Cave on Sydney's screen.
This is
kind of the first decent difficulty spike in the run, as Ash was alluding to. It's not as bad in Glitched because you have much stronger gear, especially defensively, but in Glitchless, this dungeon is terrifying if you are unlucky because you just don't have your armor at this point.
And this is the only dungeon where the chalice element actually matters. It's conveniently wind, which protects you from electricity. Normally, these jellyfish guys, you saw me just run past them, you can't attack them without being stunned. But because I have the wind element, it protects me from that stun.
I'm a little bit out of date on the meta strats. Do you actually... I know you can get a Master's Weapon here. Do you go for it here, or do you just reset on...
I just reset a Goblin Wall, yeah.
You just reset a Goblin Wall? Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely better
in
to do
Glitchless,
that.
this is a backup place for the Master's Weapon because you have to do so much other stuff anyway. You don't actually have the money to make your Master's Weapon early. This is where a lot of time you'll look to get it. You're unlucky, or at least you use... The current meta strats might be a bit different again. I'm speaking with 4-year-old meta, so...
LittleTonbi performing Infinite Guild Glitch for Team Mog here. Yeah, it looks like he's doing 5-5-5. So that's pretty standard. 5-6-5 is a little safer if you're not super confident about it, but 5-5-5 I believe gives you all the gold you could ever need in the game. In the run. Sydney doing the the worm boss here. I don't remember what it's called, but you want
This guy, yeah, he does a couple different things he can do. The jellyfish are kind of one of the more annoying things. He can poison you, which isn't too big of a deal.
This swiping attack is kind of what you want to see, kind
Yeah,
of.
you can kind of time it where he'll do that, and then it'll give you time to charge, which is great for Selkies because their charge attack with the Master's Weapon just throws them forward. You'll see that LittleTonbi-san actually gets different attacks from his weapons as he goes through the game. I believe the Clavet Master Weapon is just a giant orb that comes from the weapon instead of just kind of thrusting you forward. It's actually backwards, I believe, since the Selkie weapons are ranged into jump in melee range.
Yeah, something like that.
So
a lot of the bosses in this game have AI loops where you do a certain set of inputs and then they'll do the same attack and then you just keep going. That boss does, but like sometimes he just does a different attack for some reason.
He's finicky.
Yeah.
That's kind of the best way to put it.
A lot of new runners have some struggles with the AI loop for that boss. I know I did.
Yeah, it's sometimes he just decides to get out of it, or if you do it a little bit too slow, you get hit by the attacks, and then he has the ground stomp attack that he does instead of the side to side thing.
Yeah,
that does a ton of damage too.
And it has a bigger hitbox, so you have to walk further back. But yeah, so Sydney's going to Damon's Court here. This encounter is guaranteed for Sydney here.
Yeah, as I said, I believe this is a fixed encounter.
Yep. And then LittleTonbi going into Mushroom Forest 1.
Yep. So again, you'll notice he's got all of his gear. Mushroom Forest is a pretty simple dungeon for the most part. You kind of go left. Every dungeon has its own little gimmicks. This one's are those little mushrooms that you stand on. They just kind of boost you up to to a higher level. Other than that, there's not too much to this, especially in glitchless. And glitched actually is kind of scary because you need a certain amount of money when you leave. But
yeah. I don't remember exactly how much, but yeah, you need.
It was
money.
1,500. If you got 1 or 2 bags of gold, you would have enough, but it wasn't guaranteed. But you'd have to kill some stuff to actually try to get that. You'll see LittleTonbi is going to get the safety Phoenix down that Sydney got. Be interesting to see how many they both go for. That one is relatively easy to get because Mog is tired there anyway, so you just have Mog set the chalice down, go kill the little plant, get your Phoenix down.
Later in the run, if they're not confident about their Phoenix down count, they can also farm Phoenix downs. There's an easy place to do it in Kita Village, which we only visited once, and Sydney's already passed. And then
Goblin Wall, I believe.
Yeah, you can kind of do it in Goblin Wall too. I liked to farm at Veilus Luce too, right before the lunch.
Yeah, that would work as well.
Yeah.
I never farmed for Phoenix Down, so I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay. So Sydney just got an Getsuri from a chest there, and I'm pretty sure that's the artifact she wants from this level because it's a +2.
Yeah. So the one thing about this level has kind of its own little gimmick. There are 2 enemies that are placed in kind of a pseudo-random location. They're kind of differently colored goblins, if I remember correctly.
No, they're like the lizard guys.
Yeah, they're lizard men. And they're going to drop keys. You have to take those keys over to the entrance to the boss thing.
In multiplayer, so in 4-player multiplayer, there's a glitch that allows you to basically skip this entire level. It's really funny to look at.
You could skip.
Yeah. Are
there multiple ones? I didn't know there was one to skip this level.
Yeah, there's the one in Ravenna Terra, and then there's the one in this level that's only multiplayer. You can't do it in single player.
Oh, okay. I knew there was one on Ravenna Terra.
Yeah. The stairs directly to the left of the entrance, if you push a player who's doing a charge shot, then they can go flying up.
Yeah, it's the same glitch, just done differently then. Okay.
Yeah. LittleTonbi entering the Mines of Cthulhu's. I never knew how to say that word.
Entering the mines.
And and Sydney got pretty bad RNG on the lizards here. She got the second position and then the fourth position, which is the far left of the stage. It's way far away from everything else in the stage or in the level. So
Yeah, you can
that's
kinda,
not great RNG, but you know.
there's different paths you can take that kind of change which positions are lucky and unlucky. Just with the path Sydney took, that was about as bad as it gets, unfortunately.
Yeah, I remember Neviatz did a run, and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna call that one of the lizard men is on the far left right away," and he was right. So he actually saved time because of that.
Oh, if you call that one, it's actually really fast. It's just it's in an awkward spot because you can't check it on the same path as the other ones, but it's actually very quick if you actually just go for it.
Yeah.
So right here, this is the I forget what it exactly is. We're gonna call him the Mr. Wizard Gladiator.
Yeah, he's like the lizard king or something. I don't remember.
It's kind of a fun fight at times. He actually hits pretty darn hard if you're not careful. He'll sneak up on you and kill you. But you also have those little saw blades that come out of the ground. Those will damage you.
They can also damage him.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. They can do that.
Yeah.
That little that punch attack with like the spike does a ton of damage when you get hit by it.
It's decently easy to dodge it, but you can get stuck up on it pretty well.
Some hitboxes in this game are pretty bad. That's one of them,
Yeah.
thankfully.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work in your favor. That's one where it does. So, for runners of this caliber, it shouldn't be too big of an issue.
Yeah. So someone in chat asks, the people we're hearing aren't the runners. That's correct. So VerySydney, running for Team Choco, and then LittleTonbi-sama, running for Team Mog, or Team Moogle. And then I am Ashmarks. I'm one of your commentators.
And I'm Gulo too. I'm the other commentator. I ran this at Limit Break 20. Gosh, that was 2014, wasn't it? Holy
Yeah,
cow,
it was.
old.
It was pretty long ago.
I'm getting old.
Yeah, I haven't run this game at a marathon. I don't really plan to. I'm kind of retired from this game, but exactly, I am Ash Ketchum.
Times because of the way some of the encounters on the overworld work.
Yeah, it's once you get to like, I don't know, around 2 minutes or 2 hours and 7-ish minutes, then it's like pure RNG. You have to get good encounters and good good Damon's Court RNG and stuff
And
like
you have
that.
to play well.
Yeah, and you have to play well. So yeah, this game's pretty cool. I remember playing it a lot casually when I was younger. So
The main reason I ran it was because the soundtrack is so good.
yeah, the soundtrack's really good. If nothing else, if you gain nothing else from watching this, listen to the music from this game. It is so good.
Did an incredible job for sure.
Yeah. Sydney's going into Riverbell Path 2. The second cycle of it. So there'll be...
it adds a couple of extra enemies. Most notably are some griffins.
Yeah.
They actually drop Mithril on my very proto version of the route that I had before I actually looked up to see what other people were doing. This used to be where I would farm Mithril.
Oh, that's
Way
so
back in the
late.
day. Yeah, it was really late. My 1.0 route that I made before I talked to Wuking Long, Nev, and LittleTonbi-san, and all the other really good runners of this game was really bad. It was there weren't really any videos available at the time, and I didn't realize that people were running the game, so I was just kind of like, okay, what do I need to do to beat the game? Like, well, I need money.
So LittleTonbi-san getting a bunch of meat from his father.
He still does rancher. Wow.
Yeah, I believe. I can't remember if it's actually faster for Clavat, but
I would be surprised if it was. That's interesting.
Yeah,
it's a very small difference either way.
Yeah, it's just he has to pick up all the meat now.
Yeah, you have to pick up the meat. The locations of them are slightly different, but that doesn't matter because you run through that path anyway.
Yeah.
That might just... Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to ask him later why he still just stays rancher instead of just merchant, which is what most Western runners do. So LittleTonbi, or Totombi-san as I've been calling him, is a Japanese runner. One of the, I believe one of very few that we have in here. Which is cool, actually.
Yeah.
Or in the relay, sorry. It's technically a marathon run, but different format.
He also, from what I've heard of him, he actually speaks pretty decent English. Like, I was kind of surprised.
His English is surprisingly good for Japanese guy from way north of Japan.
Yeah. So he's entering Goblin Walled here. Let's see if he gets Master's Weapon Scroll first try. Knock on wood.
Yeah. This would definitely be nice for the relay, if nothing else.
Yeah, definitely. Let him catch up a bit.
So, I believe if he doesn't get it, he'll just leave and re-enter.
Yeah. Either he
nope, that's a
completes
Senshi Nobuki. That's not a Master's Weapon.
Yeah, we don't.
So it looks
want
like
that.
he's going to go ahead and clear the dungeon, which is fine.
Yeah, that works too. He'll farm for it after the dungeon's done.
Yeah.
Most likely, unless.
Meanwhile,
he
Sydney
does
picks
something
up a
else.
defense upgrade there.
Yep.
Didn't really have an option that she wanted. Magic does almost nothing for you, given that it's never used in an offensive capacity, and then picking up iron does nothing either. So
Yeah.
a little bit of defense never hurts.
Yep. We already have all the items we need. Kotombi's getting close to that. I think that's another guaranteed encounter on Sydney's screen. Yeah, this section.
Yeah, I think that's like when you kind of hear the Legend of the Black Knight, or something like that.
This section on Kotombi's screen right now in Goblin Wall can be, it's just brutal sometimes.
Yeah,
He's
if you're
doing
watching
it pretty
Sydney,
well,
which probably some people weren't because Rainey was doing the final boss of Crisis Core at the time, you can get slowed into stunned, and if you ever get hit while you're carrying the key, you just instant drop it. It's awful, awful, awful.
Yeah, Tombi-sama did really well in that section.
Yeah, he definitely would have made up a bit of time there. Something you'll notice is that, again, the Clavet has the melee attack, which makes killing both of these in one go much easier.
Yeah.
Although he still missed one right there. A little bit of bad luck. It is going to make it where this goblin's going to be a lot more likely to teleport, though.
And he doesn't have the ranged focus attack like Sydney did, so he has to go up to him and do attacks to him.
Yeah, so you'll see right there, there's the teleport. And he can do this infinitely, by the way. If you get too close to him and he decides he doesn't like you, he can do that as many times as he wants.
Yeah.
And never actually expose himself.
Yeah.
He's actually cooperating a lot right there. That's actually a very good fight for a Clavet.
Yeah.
Again, Selkies, you can kind of stand in the staircase, which you actually won't be seeing here because Sydney now has a melee weapon as well, since the Selkie master weapon is a melee attack. You'll see right now, Sydney's. You have to kill the big guy, and then you have to get in. Ooh, that's a lot of damage. So yeah, we're gonna heal up and try to kind of kite this out a little bit. Oh,
this is gonna be
so
really
difficult.
difficult.
Yeah, there's just so many enemies that she wants to get a charge attack because one good charge attack should take out at least a couple enemies, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a death.
Yep. The other thing is that the warrior's weapon charge attack is safe on charge. You can still get staggered by certain enemies, like the mace enemy, the mace goblin over there. But the master's weapon charge attack isn't safe. I think you can get hit out of it, or
yeah, you mean before the actual damage part comes out?
Yeah.
You can get hit during the jump, and you actually don't do damage.
Yeah, that's it. When you release the
I was say you can always take damage while you're charging, which interrupts your charge. But unlike the other one with the projectile, you can actually have it interrupt. Oh man, that's really unlucky. You want to try to bait those goblins getting close to each other, hit them with a charge attack, and then just immediately go through. It's a bit tricky because like they do the same thing. You'll see like one will go up and attack, and then the other one will.
Yeah.
You'll also notice they both have those spears, so they actually have hit stun on their attacks. But they have a sword.
Yeah. These spear goblins end up being really detrimental in some cases.
So you want to try to get them where they're on the same cycle though, where they both attack at the same time.
Yeah.
Sydney was not very lucky. So see right here, we're going to try to take out those two again.
She did
Basically,
pretty well
that's what that's supposed to look like. So they both kind of run in, try to hit her at the same time.
Yeah.
You're gonna stay on the outside here, try to bait out that lightning, and then you're gonna get in whatever damage we can. Yep, looks like it.
That's a pretty good loop so far.
Yeah, that looks really good. That's really
She's
good.
got
I totally thought that was gonna be a teleport away.
Yeah. That was a pretty decent fight, other than the goblins at the beginning.
LittleTonbi going through the middle area again. Again, he had to change his chalice to water, what you do at the Mushroom Forest, which is what you get through. And we didn't really talk about this too much, but these are miasma streams. They're like, in the game's lore, these are these very densely packed areas of like negative energy that just kills all life for the most part.
Yeah, it's
and monsters
basically
thrive
like
in.
it's basically like really bad smog.
Yeah. In
It'll
order to
just-
get through it, in that really dense area, it has its own element. You have to match the element. It essentially becomes a way to gate both progress and where you can go.
Yeah. It's kind of a pacing sort of thing for the game. Because you can essentially go to any dungeon you want, but if you don't have access to the dungeon, or if you don't have an element that you have to go through a miasma stream for, then you're limited in that way.
So here's Tita. This is... Oh, it's got us to the Gertie cutscene on the right, by the way. This cutscene is awful and glitchless. If you answer it wrong, he takes all your money, basically. And
Yeah.
money is such an important part of this run.
We actually give him 1,000 gil in glitched because we have so much money.
Yeah, you just tell him, like, okay, leave me alone, please.
Yeah.
In glitchless, saying yes just immediately ends the run. So you notice here, even Sydney picked up fire here, even though Sydney really has never used magic offensively for the entirety of the entirety of the game, essentially. You actually have to have fire to progress on this dungeon.
Kotonbi picked up fire, yeah.
Yeah, I was saying Sydney. LittleTonbi used fire for the first dungeon, like as an actual offense.
Oh yeah, in Tita, yes, correct.
So this would have been the first time Sydney actually used any magic offense. Because you see these like spiderweb platforms. You have to kind of burn them to get through, and they actually repair themselves pretty quickly. You have to be kind of careful. He could have got lucky there. You can kind of bait those goblins sometimes to breaking them for you if they don't cast electric. But if you get stunned or hit by electric at all, you really don't have time to run through this gates as you burn them, which is very, very frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, they are very quick
Yeah.
to close.
So far, pretty much a perfect dungeon for LittleTonbi.
Pick up the key, go to the boss. Oh, he's poisoned, so he got hit while he was carrying the key.
Yeah, even the poison dot actually causes you to drop your key, which is very frustrating sometimes.
I actually, when I'm poisoned and I have to carry a key, sometimes I drop it because it'll be in front of me then, instead of behind me. I think it's an optimization. I don't know, actually.
It makes sense. I could see it being fast.
But yeah, this boss here is Armstrong. He's pretty easy. If he swipes with his like big wooden hand, that will almost always stagger you because it's pretty fast.
The main thing that actually is a problem here are his two little henchmen, just because they can cast. And the fire one doesn't really matter. It's just the electric one because you can get stunned.
Yeah, basically you don't want to get hit by lightning ever, or thunder.
Yeah, Sydney starting up. I forget the name of this one.
Mount Kilanda.
Mount Kilanda, that's right. I want to say Mount Valenge, but that's not this one.
No, not yet. She has to throw this water pot in the fire. I have failed throwing that water
I
pot
failed it plenty of
in the
times.
fire, and you have to leave the level and come back.
You can leave and then go back in. It's awful.
Yep. And that's
that.
like another 500 gold or something that you have to pay.
Actually, you can die if you want to. And then,
I'd never thought of that actually.
It sucks though. Like don't do that.
It's not good.
These guys are really funny. They're carrying a giant knife for the boss. You kind of whack him, he drops the knife, which is supposed to affect the boss, but the more important thing is it's actually going to open the gate for us
Yeah.
to actually get to the boss.
We want him to run faster.
Yeah. If you hit both of the guys that are carrying those knives, I believe he starts without any weapons or something like that. Or this boss does, but it's not really that important regardless. But yeah, it is really funny because you beat him to it and you're just kind of standing there waiting for him to get there.
So this boss, the Iron Giant, I believe, or the Steel Giant, something like that. He has
Iron sounds right. We'll go with that.
Yeah, he's iron something. He has 2 attacks when he has the sword, and then if the sword breaks, he will have 2 different attacks. Basically, you don't want the sword to break. And
Yeah, that
sword
little
break.
straight down slash he does is the attack that can't break the sword.
So yeah, now that the
like
sword is
run away and
broken,
charge when he does that.
Yeah.
That's all you can really do is kind of get a charge attack ready when he does it. The ground slam is fine. That's really easy to deal with. It's easy to avoid. Gives you time to do whatever you want to do.
and now he's going to get another sword.
He jumps out of the arena on occasion to get another one. So on the bright side, this should be over pretty quick. This is another boss with terrible hitboxes, by the way. That sword slash is just like, I'm gonna like swing and oh, I missed somehow. LittleTonbi's on getting the thieves as a random encounter.
Let's see what they steal, if anything. Sometimes they don't steal anything. It's kind of fun. They're not very good thieves.
Yeah,
Honestly.
they got something. I didn't see what it was.
Yeah, I didn't see what it was. Hopefully that's not detrimental. Because, well, look, he's done Tita, so he already has Master's Weapon.
Yeah, there's nothing they can steal that's impactful at this point.
Yeah. So many bonus points. Ideally, we want to get... so there's... In every dungeon, every level, you have a bonus for each player that's in the game. And whatever that bonus is, if you do it or if you don't do it, you have an amount of bonus points at the end of each stage.
What it's meant to do is in multiplayer, it decides who gets first pick at each of it, the post game or post level artifacts.
Yeah.
In single player, it influences the level of items you get as well. And that's kind of the other major use for it. Usually, though, we don't really want higher level stuff anyway.
Yeah.
You kind of want low ones anyway. I'm trying to remember what some of them are. There's like don't get hit. There's like kill enemies. There's like
use magic, use triple attacks, use focus attacks, stuff like that.
It's not something you really can play around, even if you can know what it is.
Yeah, we have a very particular play of each level that we do.
So,
Sydney in her 5th year here now. The river is dried up now, so the ferryman is at Port Tipa. Tipa is the original village that we start in, and is our village. So she's gonna go visit the ferryman and go to Linari Desert. Linari Island, Linari Desert.
The Linari Desert, the town here is it's the Selkie home village, essentially. Selkies are kind of, in the world of the game, they're kind of known to be kind of rogues that are a bit of loners and don't really have a home, so this is kind of the only settlement they have.
Yeah, they, if you actually talk to some of the people in the village, some of them will take stuff from you.
Only if you're not a Selkie. If you're a Selkie.
Only if you're not a Selkie, yeah. And, that can be pretty funny if someone's, like, not really in the run, but like casually, if you're playing the game and you tell your friends, oh, hey, you're a Clavat, you should go talk to that guy.
Yeah.
And then you take something.
It's actually my favorite level in the game that's not done in the speedrun. Gosh, I'm blanking on its name all of a sudden. But there's a level that's like the entire thing of it was like a swamp that the Selkies tried to cross to find a new homeland. Really, really
Yeah.
sad. Like this game's story, like the world building theme is actually fantastic. It's that and the music are the things that they unequivocally got correct.
The dungeon you're thinking of is called Konal Karach.
Konal Karak,
Yeah.
that's right. It's also got fantastic. It's like my favorite dungeon theme.
Yeah, there's
So
a few
right
dungeons that
here,
don't
Sydney's going to be doing a bunch of very arbitrary seeming tasks. Maybe they are arbitrary, but to do that we got to pick up some magics to do specific things. We need Blizzard, Thunder, Holy, I believe.
life and fire. We need all 4 of them.
Oh, you need all of them. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're gonna like.
And these 4 enemies right at the beginning of the level give us all 4 of those magicites, which is convenient.
Yeah. It's like they knew this would be a thing. So normally what's supposed to happen is as you play through the game in like year 6, 7, 8, and 9, it's supposed to give you little hints like the guy that like tried to take our money earlier and everything else.
Yeah. Gertie
Kind of like little poems.
Gertie actually does give us, I think, 2 hints. Or no, Gertie gives us 1, and then the village elder gives us 1.
Okay.
For 2 of the things in this level here.
So, a lot of people play this game and never beat it because they didn't know this was a thing. So, but
Yeah.
you're supposed to use those hints, and it's like, okay, cast like thunder on the rocks, and then cast ice on this, and then
Yeah.
so you do like you cast magic on these kind of things. You see like the animation here, casting thunder on the cactus. And that actually is necessary to beat the video game. And it's funny because we technically don't have the knowledge to do this, but it never blocks us from doing it.
Yeah. And then the next step here is to cast gravity on this like broken tent on the right side of the level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he's gonna take us before me, probably.
Probably.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely casually, a lot of people had trouble at this point in the game because they had no idea that this was even a thing.
Well, it's even funnier because it's a normal dungeon. You can just beat the dungeon.
Yeah, you could just go kill the antlion at the end if you wanted to, but in order to beat the game, you need to do this, and it's really cryptic, honestly. My friend and I, my childhood friend and I, had to have the strategy guide tell us exactly where to go.
I never beat this game until I was beating it.
Yeah. we luckily had the strategy guide, because otherwise it was like, how were we supposed to know this at all?
So, last one is going to be Blizzard on the rocks.
Yep.
And then Holy on the flower.
Yeah, once she finishes doing Blizzard on these 3 rocks in ascending order, a flower will actually spawn in the lower left corner of this area, and that you have to cast Holy on, which is a combination of thunder and life, or fire and life?
It's just life and any damaging magic.
Yeah. And then it like makes a pedestal you can put your chalice onto, and you get this mystery magicite that I don't know if there's really an explanation.
It's not even mystery magic. It's just a mystery element, and I think I usually used to call it the holy element, but it's technically the question mark element.
Yeah.
Basically, you lose the passive bonuses of like earth, water, wind, and fire chalice, but you can go through any miasma stream, which is nice considering that it's the last miasma stream in the game. Can only be passed by the question mark element or the mystery element.
Yep, here's the flower we're talking about, and it turns into a pedestal. And then we're just going to leave the level right away. Now that we have this, we can go to the end of the game, basically. But to do that, first we have to go to VerySydney and bring water back into the river.
Yeah, because we can't cross the river unless there's water near it.
LittleTonbi going into Mushroom Forest 2. Yeah, it's basically what Sydney does, except he's a robot.
Yep, I don't think we should see, no, actually we won't see the charge attack here, I don't believe. I'm trying to think, because I don't think we've shown off that the charge attack is different for Clavet, because the Clavet charge with the Master Weapon is Just basically a giant fireball.
Yeah, I don't think I've actually watched.
Fortunately for the run, it's actually huge. So again, we talked about like how there's 3 different races that are essentially viable for the speed run. Ukes, I mean, you can run them if you want to, but they're bad. Lilties actually have a problem in that their master weapon is the charge attack on it is like a tiny little laser that comes out of the weapon, but it's actually really low, and it whiffs on some of the final bosses because it doesn't actually hit high enough damage.
Yeah, wasn't there a setup on Ryan or Ryan with it where you had like a safe spot?
Yeah, that's true for Clavit as well.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And you can also do it with Selkie. You just have to drop down to the previous weapon.
Yeah.
Which was actually done for a while. There we go. There's the another master weapon plan. Oh, did he not get the master weapon yet? That might be.
I don't know.
Because I know he did Goblin Wall and didn't get it there. I don't think, but he didn't reset it. So yeah, that's his master weapon plan for the run. That's old glitchless tech.
Yeah.
LittleTonbi was running this before Infinite Kill Glitch was discovered, so much like me, he's one of the OGs of the game.
Mm-hmm. He's been around for a long time. Easy enough Malboro fight for LittleTonbi. Yeah, there is a lot of downtime in this game, but there's also you still have to move around a lot and stuff. So basically, you're always doing something, but some of the stuff is like not as exciting.
It's a pretty chill run. It's
yeah,
fun.
it's a good beginner run for sure. I think if you have not ever done a speedrun before, I think this is a good game to start on. Yeah, Sydney's still just trekking over to VerySydney. We gotta fill that river.
LittleTonbi picking up the buckler there for a bit more defense. So again, the blacked out ones are just ones that he's already got. You can only have one of each artifact unless you pick it up inside of the dungeon itself. So like you can actually pick up those artifacts in the dungeon, and you'll still get the bonuses, but you can't like have multiple of them.
Yeah, you can't keep them after the dungeon's over.
Yeah. Yeah, so LittleTonbi is going to make that happen here.
Yeah, going to Mars Pass.
Just to follow up on something that was said earlier, this is an awesome game to run, and if you're ever interested in running it, you should go check out any of the guides on the speedrun.com page.
Yeah, I've put a bit of work into making some 90% guides. Ghoul and Sydney have made some good glitchless guides if you're into that. So if you want to run this game, I'll link the speedrun.com page here. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a nice chill. You kind of just learn the game and then you do it a lot.
Yeah, it's one of those nice games in that because they're like where the randomness is and how it affects the run. There's always something different in the run, which is always nice. There's always adjusting for my strength was high this run, or my strength is bad, or my encounter luck was bad, so I can go risky. It's interesting in that it's a very decision-heavy run, which isn't necessarily common to see.
Oh, someone in the chat mentioning this game is getting a remaster with Switch.
Switch, PS4, and PC.
PS4 and PC. Oh, okay.
It's going everywhere. I'm kind of like shocked that it's a thing, actually.
Yeah, I actually had no idea it was coming out for PS4 and PC.
Yeah. Something to note here, you have to pick up life on your second pass on VerySydney because you need to revive the plants in order to
Right,
actually
yeah.
get the keys. Otherwise, I believe you have to wait until year 6 for those plants come back to life on their own anyway. Or year 7, sorry, I think it's year 7. But
I
that's
believe
why
so,
the water grind, those plants would create the water for the entirety of the world, or kind of they kind of live for 2 years and then die in 2 years, on and off. So, also weirdly, the remake is having voice acting.
Is it?
Yep, there's gonna be voice acting in this game.
I haven't heard very much about it then, I guess.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I was like, wait. Gertie just talked, and I was like, oh no. Oh no. Can you use Phoenix Downs on those plants? I actually don't know.
Yes, you can. I believe it's like still better to use life, because then you have Phoenix Downs for the later levels, the last level in the game. But yeah, you can use Phoenix Downs on this plane.
That sounds to me like a strat that should be done in the future.
Probably. I always just picked up life.
It's pretty
fine.
quick. It's
Yeah.
something we didn't talk about too much. We kind of briefly mentioned it in passing, but regarding that, is that the two different class or races used here have different guards, and the Selkie guard is probably one of the most, well, the second most broken guard in the game behind you.
Yeah.
Basically, she'll do a backflip, and whenever she does, she's in the middle of that backflip, she keeps taking damage. Ukes are hilarious because they can just go completely intangible and sit there as long as they want.
Yeah, so the Uke defense has a good amount of startup and ending time, so you're not safe during that, but for the entire duration you hold the A button, you are completely invulnerable, nothing can hurt you.
It leads to some really funny things in, if you ever want to, there were 2 4-player co-op versions of this run done at ESA by Nevietz, our organizer Maelstrom, Sereth, and oh gosh, who's the 4th?
I think it was Gedrith?
No, it wasn't Gedrith. It starts with a G, I'm pretty sure.
Grokken.
Yeah. Grokken, there we go. Nev is correcting me. Gedrith's American. He didn't go to ESA.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really funny because 2 of them would play Ukes because they actually make better use of the stats that the first 2 players, already picked up and don't have access to anymore. And the other thing is that they would try to draw aggro from bosses because bosses, choose a target to go after. So they would go after them, go completely invulnerable, and then just sit there and be unable to take damage. It was really funny. So this is the last required encounter for Sydney. Anything from here is lost time, essentially.
I haven't been exactly counting encounters. I know she got a few thieves.
She's gotten incredibly unlucky.
Yeah. I don't
8.
remember... 8?
8 encounters.
Oh, no.
I was gonna say, like, a good run is like
1 or 2. I've seen Nev actually get no encounters until the last tile, and then he got
I've
Luda.
had no encounters until year 5 before as well.
Yeah.
But yeah. Usually, like, a good run has 2 or 3.
Yeah.
8 is incredibly unlucky.
Definitely.
My PB actually has 6 encounters in it.
Ooh, wow.
Your 20305? That has 6 encounters? I haven't watched it yet. Crap.
Yeah, it has 6 encounters in it.
That is kind of amazing, actually.
Yeah, it was. And second try Master's Weapon. It was really bad luck. I just played really well.
Maybe I should start grinding this game again.
I know, I'm thinking, I'm like, man, my PB sucks.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
That's a different era. So, I actually almost PB'd in the back room at Limit Break, which was really funny. I ended up, for some reason, I started having issues with getting triple hits in, even like it happened during the run, even. But I was in the back room. I was actually like 3 minutes ahead of PB going into Mount Valenge.
Oh wow.
I was like, oh dang. Yeah, doing my one last practice run before I actually had to go live.
Yeah, I remember I had one run that was basically red splits for the entire duration of it until VerySydney 2, where I was a minute ahead of Neviatz's current world or previous world record. I was on 2:02:10 pace technically.
Wow.
But I was like, it was awful for almost the entire duration of the run.
Yeah, this segment right here is awful, by the way. It's like the way the encounters in this game work, like getting them early actually makes it easier to get more of them as it goes, because it opens up more possibilities for them to show up, it feels like. It's like the fewer encounters you get, the fewer of them you're actually going to have over the course of the run. And there's so many steps on this last little segment where you're going to Mount Valenge that it feels like you're lucky to get through with only one encounter, even on normal runs. Sydney's probably got so many different random encounter chains available where I would expect probably to see 2 of them on the way there.
Yeah.
She's been pretty lucky so far.
And LittleTonbi finishing up Damon's court. He's gonna fight the Lizard King. I don't know. We kind of already talked about this level.
I think he got better luck. He actually did what I used to do. He checked the left little scaffolding, the last one, where Sydney was there first, and it actually had one of the keys for him. So by the way, right there, the first stat is strength. You see, he's at 45 without a strength boost.
Yeah. And
Sydney, what's your strength right now?
My strength is 54 without a boost.
54 without a boost?
That's
Yeah.
above average.
Yeah, that's actually very good. So the one thing that you actually are going to look for that's very important is getting to 60, I believe. Or is it 65?
65 is like generally what we go for, yeah. But 60 is okay.
70 was there was a very outside chance of getting to it. I know that.
Yeah.
The world record holder Nanaka before Nev took over got to 70 with the Lilty in his run.
Yeah.
So again, every time you step up, you do 1 extra damage. So your DPS essentially, doubles or triples in the final boss fight. Whenever you actually can get that up to a higher value.
Yeah.
So 54 sounds pretty decent in my head.
It's slightly above average. 53 is about average.
Because you're guaranteed what, 6 points of strength?
You're guaranteed 8.
Guaranteed
no, yeah.
8.
You're guaranteed.
I thought you get 2 3 drops, and then there's a chance of getting a 5.
So you can hold 4 arguments, right? So you can theoretically get 4 3s, but on the lowest amount you can get is 4 2s, which is neat. There are 4 strength chests that you can get all 2s from if you don't get any Masamune, which is +5.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, you're guaranteed 8, but hopefully you get more than that. Basically, we want to hit 65 without a strength boost.
65 with the strength boost is fine as well. It just means you have to keep an eye on your Game Boy Advance screen so that you know when you're not doing enough damage.
So Sydney's got 54 strength right now. She'll want...
And
she'll want
Sydney also did only stick with 5 hearts, which isn't a huge deal. The only thing that's going to matter for her is the final boss. If she gets hit by the final boss, she's going to get 1 shot, though. So that's going to be fun.
Okay, So the first chest that can have a Masamune did not. So she's gonna check the second one now.
So yeah, this final dungeon is really, really long and very difficult. We are significantly under geared here relative to what the game would expect, because again, we are in year 5, and the game expects us to be in year 9 at minimum.
Yeah.
So like, there are gonna be like cutscenes and cutscenes during the credits that haven't happened because we haven't done them.
And unfortunately, Sydney didn't get a Masamune from either test, so she's just gonna take a death, try to reset, and then see if she can get another Masamune.
Yeah.
From these 2 chests.
Especially with 5 hearts, getting extra, because the benefit of 5 hearts, you get to pick up an extra strength artifact before you go in. So you have higher strength to begin with, and again, your higher DPS essentially equals survivability at this point, because the sooner bosses go down, the harder it's going to be for her to get hit. So, and it will not be possible for her to get to the point where she isn't one shot by the final boss.
And first chest, she gets a Masamune, so she now has a +5. She's guaranteed.
That's huge.
Yeah, she's guaranteed at least 11 strength in the dungeon now. Which is like, that's okay. Would rather have 2 Masamune.
Yeah, but as long as you get at least one of them, it feels good enough.
She got 1, so that's good.
You really just want to not be on 60. You're not be on 60. It is 65 if you want to hit.
Yeah.
Because at 60 you do 1 damage for every hit. At 65 you do 2 damage for every hit. So, and there's a lot of fights. So it's actually almost comical how much longer this dungeon is. I used to always keep track, okay, each year should take about 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. This dungeon takes almost 40 on its own.
Yeah. From entering the dungeon to the end of the game, it's about 40 minutes. It's a significant amount of time. I think that was...
That's a +2.
Yeah.
That was something brand, which is a +2 from the
Yeah, Firebrand. It wasn't Overkiller, but...
Mjolnir is the other +3 from our correctly. Or Thor's hammer in the Japanese version.
That's Overkiller, I think, right? No, that's...
Yeah, that was Overkiller. Sasuke something.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a +3.
Man, I gotta brush up on my katakana and hiragana.
They're not on the screen very long. It's hard to see.
Yeah.
So LittleTonbi is in a random encounter here. This one is not required.
Yeah, this is a random encounter.
I believe they just gave you some corn at the end.
Yeah, I think they give you a seed because they're like farmers or something.
Yeah. That's the class. So each of the different towns or villages has their own caravans going around. That's usually who you encounter unless you meet up with the thieves. That group is the Clavits. Clavits are kind of known as being gentler farmer people. Wilties are kind of more aggressive warriors. Utes are kind of like your classic mystic, magey types. And then Selkies are just kind of untrustworthy, thieving types.
So in this section of Mount Valenge, there's these dark crystals that kind of weird, they make a sound at you. And if you get too close to them, your chalice stops emitting the mirror that is inside of it. And then you have no protection against the miasma like this.
Yeah.
so she's taking damage, but it doesn't matter because she's about to enter a boss fight at this point.
Yeah. What you're supposed to do, since you don't know where those are casually, is you just go over and beat them. I think it's 6 times, and they release your chalice. But in this situation, it's going to be faster just to keep running.
Yeah. Through the course of the game, we kind of learn more about the characters and this boss, known as the meteor parasite.
Oh, this boss is...
The first 2 phases are okay.
The first 2 phases are free, and the third phase is the hardest fight in the game.
Yeah.
And the worst part about it is that the first 2 phases take 2 minutes to beat, just by the way the fights work. So he's going to pop out here. She's going to try to get him in a loop where he's going to try to slam the ground, but he's just going to back away and take no damage because of it. And you see like how quickly he gets shredded. But once he takes like half his health bar, he's just going to run away and do nothing.
Conveniently in this phase, so there's 2 like tentacles on either side of the stage. You can kind of see one popping up on the left side. If you stand in this like vertical line she's kind of in, neither of them will hit you ever. Like they have magic and stuff, but in this phase we don't have to.
This boss has so many blind spots, basically.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put it. So she's trying to get him to slam the ground, so she'll go in and see there's another phase down. So now she's got to wait again. Yeah, I was not good at this fight until I started practicing it on emulator and could just do the third phase by itself. The third phase is the only part of this fight that has any semblance of difficulty once you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, there you go. This should be the last phase, or last part for the first phase.
She got hit there.
Yeah, I got hit there. That's fine. This next phase, I mean, you have so much time to do whatever you need to.
Yeah, she'll just heal up again. It doesn't take any time. One thing to note, she actually went cureless.
Yeah, that's relatively new stuff.
Yeah,
it's very risky. It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Sydney, what's your strength? Whenever you get a chance.
I believe it's 68 with the buff, so it's 65.
65? Or it'd be 66.
It's 66.
Okay. So this fight's really funny because you got those 2 mounts, and those 2 mounts actually are going to kind of act as cover from the 2 things that can actually damage you. This fight is... This is the fight where you also realize how bad the boxes are in this game.
Yeah.
The meteor parasite is technically off the ground a little bit, which is a problem for wilties in particular because they have a very low aligned laser as their weapon, their charge attack. So right here, you're gonna see she's gonna be kind of standing near him, and you're gonna say like, "Wow, that attack looks like it should hit." That only hits if you're on those hills for whatever reason, because it's looking for how high you are. And here's where it's really funny: if you start charging while those are going, you'll actually take damage from them. So for whatever reason, that leads to the hypothesis that charging actually raises your hurt box.
Yeah, game has weird hitboxes and hurt boxes.
This fight is the biggest example of that.
Yeah.
So, almost done with phase 2. She's got to do one more phase where he's hiding. Probably gonna equip the Phoenix down and meet here. Phoenix down because the third phase is incredibly terrifying, and meat just she's at 66 base. She can't get to 70, so she actually doesn't have to worry about her strength buffs at all. She just has to use her meat to heal, which is kind of nice actually.
Only has to manage her health. It's really convenient to have at least 65 without.
Oh, ow.
Wow. So she got
caught over there by that the ice attack. That's unlucky.
Yeah. Yeah, she got frozen and stun locked, so then the actual
usually those
parasite
do give you enough cover.
That is literally the first time that's ever happened to me.
I've never seen anyone get hit there. I was gonna say, I'm like, I don't remember that being something that happens very often.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anyone get hit in second phase like that. I've definitely been shot at, never been hit.
Yeah. So here's phase 3. So he's not going to expose himself immediately. So you're going to see her go over to probably the guy on the left. And
On the right, yeah.
On the right. Okay, never mind. She's going to kill one of the 2 little plants before she pokes his head out. This is going to give kind of a safe spot as well as just be nice in general. Okay, we're going to kill both of them. Okay, we're killing both of them.
She's doing damage to the second one.
Ah, getting it prepped. Okay. So now she's going to hit this guy who's floating in the air. Kind of weird. The blue laser attack you see right there is actually very dangerous. That will that might actually one-shot at 5 hearts. I know it's really bad. That was the bigger problem with it is that the blue laser does not have hit stun attached to it. So
Yeah,
you can get hit by that and then instantly combo it into something else and die.
Yeah, the big barrage of like a ton of shots.
So one of your goals really is to just make sure that you get that blue laser cycle on a different cycle than everything else. You see, okay, so the blue laser doesn't one-shot, but it does 4 hearts worth of damage. It hurts.
Yeah.
And again, there's no indicator, there's no stun, there's no knockdown. You take 4 hearts of damage, and that's it.
Yeah. You
So the right
basically have to watch your hearts.
but because one of the plants is dead, she should still have a safe spot. And here we go. So she's gonna keep track of her cycles. There's the normal explosion. Here's the blue. You see how there's kind of a safety spot at the very far back of the arena that's actually really nice. That makes this fight a lot more manageable than it would be otherwise. I'm gonna have to back out to make sure it's blue and yellow. Very, very clean. Right
Yeah, that
there.
was a very clean cycle.
That's what that looks like basically done. Now we're gonna take out this right plant so we make sure we have a safe spot. Got kind of clipped by the red there again. It's not much you can do about that other than just try to time it a little bit more carefully. It's not a huge deal. She should have plenty of meat at this point for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Especially since she doesn't have to worry about a strength buff either, so. And like most of the later guys are just one shot her anyway, so doesn't really have an option. Should be last hit right there.
Very
All right.
clean phase 3. Very.
Yeah, that was
very
a beautiful meteor parasite phase 3. So I'm kind of jealous. I wish mine looked like that.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I wanted to mention about those lasers is the closer you are to him, the less of those lasers he does, but it depends on where you're standing in the cycle before it. It's not like super noticeable, it's just a thing.
So right here, this is kind of the slowest part of the run. So you get like through this like very difficult hype boss fight, and then the game makes you play trivia for about 5 minutes, which normally wouldn't be a big deal, except this is in Japanese and he's American. So we have little cheat sheets with almost all of the answers you can get. On occasion, you'll get unlucky. Kind of explains like the true story of the game right here.
Yeah.
This segment's kind of funny. It's also surprisingly dangerous. I've died here so many times and wasted a Phoenix down. Which,
Yeah, these 2 red shadows or whatever that pop up.
the first 2 guys they're if you get them off cycle, they can just run at you. And
Yeah.
it's bad.
And I think they have like a surprising amount of health compared to the rest of the enemies in the game. I think they take 3 focus attacks, or maybe a little more. I don't remember.
It's 2.
Is it 2? Okay.
It's 2.
But yeah, it's and their attacks are very quick, and then if you hit an enemy,
they're very
they'll
quick, but they
start their
also only hit on
animation.
one side of their body. They're another
Yeah.
enemy with really bad hitboxes.
Yeah.
So, hopefully we'll only have to fight the first ones.
Yeah.
So-
So there's 5 questions. and if you get any of them wrong, you have to fight that question's like amount of shadows or whichever shadows. They get harder and harder per question. So the first question is like, okay, it's like 2 red shadows or whatever, which is still kind of hard, but each question that goes on, the fight gets harder.
You'll
So
see she's gonna kind of duck towards the left and then try to take out one of them as quickly as possible. You see again, it's got the very quick attacks with almost no hit stun. Ooh, wow, dodge towards the left. That's kind of scary to do.
Wow.
You want to dodge towards the right normally in these guys because again, the hitbox is really only hits like from their left side to the front of them, so it's a lot easier to dodge going towards the right normally, at least in my experience.
Yeah. She took a hit there, which is like not bad. It only does 3.5 hearts. But she'll want to heal before, at least before the next boss.
I'm trying to remember what's the name of the little wisp because Reem is the boss.
Lady
like
Mio.
Mia, that's right.
You actually get a full heal right after that, so you
Okay.
don't actually need to heal if you take damage, yeah.
Oh, I never noticed. Shows how much I know.
I
about
always
this
had
game.
cure, so if I took damage in like the time it took for Mio to show up again, I would just cast cure real quick.
Yeah.
Probably why we did never notice is it's
Yeah.
pretty natural to cast cure while you're waiting for Mio to show up again. So yeah, this game's got a big theme of like memories and the journey along the way mattering and stuff like that. That's what this whole segment is about.
Yeah, over the course of the game, you fill your Crystal Chronicle up with memories, and those memories will play a role in the final battle.
Sort of.
Less so for cureless strats, but you'll see in a second. So she got the first question right.
Basically, you're going to have to answer 5 questions. Each time you answer a question properly, you're going to open a door. If you fail it, you're going to lose 1 memory and fight 2 new enemies that are going to randomly spawn. It's not fun whenever you have to fight those.
It's pretty boring, and you have to, if you don't, like, if you can't read Japanese, you have to look on the list, and then that takes up time, so it's not a great section of the game. A lot of people didn't love this section casually. But,
It's probably even worse casually because you probably, we've got maybe 70 memories or something. Casually, you probably have 120 or more.
I think we end up with somewhere around 30 or 40 actually.
Oh, is it 30 or 40?
Yeah, something like that.
I was thinking
no,
it was 70, like actually it might be more like 50, but like you have significantly more memories and it pulls your memories for what questions are in the pool.
Yeah.
So there's way more questions in the pool when you actually play more of the game. So, like, how many questions are on the list?
I think there's like 20 or something. I haven't looked at it in a while.
Meanwhile, LittleTonbi-san is he's getting the unknown element in the desert. See right there, a little bit of menu optimization. You have to get gravity, but you get gravity set up with fire and blizzards that when you break gravity and decouple them, you just have the spells you need immediately for the next 2 parts of the thing. So you decoupled it, now he has fire and blizzard. She conveniently showed us I did that, so. Outrunning Mog a fair bit right there. Oh, missed a little bit.
There we go. So fire on the mushroom rock there for Kotombi. Now he's gonna do blizzard on the 3 large rocks. Pick up the chalice.
Yeah, a little bit of bad luck there. So that little rock guy is chasing pretty good distance still. Also, this desert is freaking huge.
Yeah, it's I think it's the biggest level in the game other than the ledge.
Especially because there's also like a second area too that we don't even see in the run.
Yeah, maybe this is even bigger than the ledge. I can't remember, but
as far as just sheer walkable square footage, it probably is bigger, just because there are almost no walls in it. It's just a giant open area.
Yeah.
One thing to note on the final boss. It won't really come into play here, but if you run too low on memories, the game will instantly game over and boot you to the title screen as opposed to just normal death.
Right.
Should come into play for runners this caliber unless Sydney gets very, very unlucky and dies a bunch. Which I suppose could happen, but especially without Cure, because we'll explain it later, but Cure actually means that your memories matter a lot more for the final boss in the game.
So Kotombi's
Kotombi's got his mystery element. Now he's got to head over to Veilus Sluice and re-raise the river.
Oh, is this the one? I think that's one of the ones that's missing. That question. I still have to fix that.
Oh, she got it wrong. So
Yeah.
so you get to see now one of the big guys. They have a ton of health. I think they're less dangerous than even just the red ones are.
Yeah, I think they cast magic, but if you're close to them, then they don't swing. Yeah, they just like walk at you if you're close to them. I think they try to swing, but yeah.
Yeah, they have a ton of health, but they're not super dangerous at least. Like the red ones are actually dangerous. You can just get like one shot if you're lucky. Apparently that was just a mistake by Sydney because it's actually on the list.
Oh no.
That's unlucky. So sometimes you kind of panic and read the wrong characters or whatever else. So I remember I used to have a little notebook that I kept in mind before Ash and all the other runners compiled a better list, and I actually would copy the first character of each answer until I had.
Yeah. Sometimes the first character isn't enough though, sometimes you need the last character.
No, it's Luda.
Oh, there's Luda. There's the Luda cutscene. This is 50 plus seconds.
It's a
time
full
loss.
minute.
Yeah.
It is a full minute of just watching these two run in circles.
You also have to mash A through their dialogue, or through like one text box or something.
Yeah, they don't they say almost nothing either, but you still have to wait for every animation to finish. It's so awful. Like that one part, it's just the camera panning for like a solid 5 seconds, and you're just like,
it's so unnecessary.
Like, what are you trying to show me, game?
Oh, there's other people in the world. You knew that already.
So here's Reem. Reem is the penultimate boss in the run. It's also one of the easiest fights in the game once you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I always like this part of the cutscene right here, when Reem just slams me out of the ground. Just always crack me up. I don't know why.
I'm pretty sure in the English version he says "fool" and she like screams.
It's just yeah, it's either like fool or no, and just wham, and then it's like okay.
Whenever I was doing runs, I would always enact those two lines right here. Yeah. Fool. Ah. That was always a fun little thing to do.
Reem is hilarious because Reem, despite being, this big, huge boss, has like 8 different blind spots, and there are 2 really easy ones to find. Sydney is very likely going to go for the faster version of the fight. So first of all, he summons these 2 little friends. They're not going to do anything because we're just going to run like straight at him. And then you hit him, and then he tries to chest bump you. And you're like, I don't want to be chest bumped. And you step away, and then you hit him 3 times. And yeah, that's it. This boss is now in an infinite loop as long as Sydney doesn't use this one.
He can shoot lasers, and he
after
later. Yeah.
At which point you just
charge attack. Yeah. And it's so free. The only bad thing that can happen is if instead of on the second hit, his animation resets on the first hit, and then you get hit, but then you have a meet or something in order to heal yourself back up. And then
it's even funny. There's a point where you can stand at where he is still trying to chest bump you until he gets below half health, but he can't actually hit you with a chest bump because you're too far away. But he won't realize that you're too far away, so he'll continue to try to chest bump you. LittleTonbi will probably show this off, just given the way the Clavic works. Clavic can do full DPS from that spot as opposed to stealthy where it's better to step in and out. But in that spot, you can't even be hit by a laser. Just hits the toughest thing.
So here's the laser we're talking about. Like, she just does a charge attack, and hits him twice more. And
Yeah.
He goes back to his little loop.
Right back to the chest bump. This boss has so many blind spots, it's almost comical. Thought it shouldn't use a safe spot. Okay. This part about the safe spot is actually, if you get hit by the chest bump, it almost puts you in the safe spot. You just have to step forward a tiny bit. So I used to use that as a setup back when the safe spot was what you would use. I would actually like get hit and take like a half step forward, and then I would be like cold.
So we got another cutscene. This section of the game is just rampant with cutscenes.
Yeah, I mean, the game really doesn't have a super cohesive story until this point in the game. So... LittleTonbi getting himself a life Magicite. Getting trolled by the Griffin a little bit.
Oh, that
Actually,
bomb
that was the bomb, actually. That was the bomb.
Yeah.
I was like, wait,
ice...
why does the Griffin have an ice attack? And then I realized,
yeah,
he got poked by that.
It's an ice bomb, so it does ice attacks.
Yeah. There's the LittleTonbi got an Ingetsu in from the chest. It's going to be a nice little, I think that's a +2.
Yeah. I can't remember if you got it in Damon's Court, but
it's still a +2 for the rest of the dungeon, regardless.
Yeah, if he didn't, then he can take it at the end of the dungeon, which is nice. So, here's the final boss for VerySydney. Time does not happen at the end of this boss. There will be another cutscene. After. But, yeah, it's this big tower guy. He's all menacing.
Yeah, so this is Memoroa.
Like
also,
arm.
like, some awesome music.
Yeah, such great music. Yeah, this is Memoroa. This is the culmination of Rhyme or Reem, or I don't even know how to say it, and Lady Mio. Reem basically, like, absorbed Lady Mio, and together they create Memoroa.
So, normally in a casual playthrough or in safer versions of these, you would have a cure spell on. And cure allows you to turn your memories into mystery magicite. That'll turn into either one of the highest level basic spells or complete invulnerability for a certain amount of time. In cureless strats, you don't bother with that, so... The other thing is that this boss does 5.5 hearts of damage with every attack, so... If Sydney ever gets hit, Sydney will die. Once you take out its leg, you can damage its body proper. The one thing that's very scary about this, you can react to and predict what it's going to do. The different attacks, you see like the white laser right there, you can get a full charge in on a laser like that. Missed the first hit of the charge attack, it's a bit unlucky.
Yeah, if you had Cure, you would use it on those memories of your family and the people you've met along the way, and then they would drop question mark Magicite, and you could use that, and it would do the highest level spell, or it would give you an invulnerability shield. And if we were using Cure strats, we would want that shield so we could just keep wailing on the
Oh yeah, you just go nuts on them. It's really funny. The only thing that's scary about it is you have to kind of be ready for when time's out. The other nice thing about it is there's no cast time on it either, so you just like use all the magic you have until you find the one you want. Because you don't know what it is until you actually use it.
Yeah.
So looking like Sydney's going for a 2-cycle. You can 1-cycle this fight. Very difficult. This is actually going incredibly well, by the way.
Yes. I think in my current PV, I died to Memarella, and then I one-cycled him after I died. I was really like sad about the death at that point, because I think I would have gotten sub 210. But yeah, that's the boss fight. I mean,
That was
she did that really cleanly with no cure.
No damage. No. Yeah. Like.
I'm like amazed at that actually. I have so much trouble with that boss. I just need to practice Valenge more if I'm gonna run this game again.
Yeah, that's usually what it boils down to.
Yeah.
So, time will be coming up as soon as she hits the meteor parasite one more time to finish it off.
Yeah, I think we have another like 20 seconds on this cutscene, so.
And then we should jump over to the next runner, I think immediately after, next run after that, almost immediately, which is a bit unfortunate because the credits theme in this game is...
Oh, it's so good.
It's
all of
absolutely
the
divine.
music in this game is great.
It's all great, but that's the final song is like especially good.
Yeah. I said this earlier in the run, but if you gain nothing else from this run, listen to the soundtrack. It is at least my favorite Final Fantasy soundtrack. For sure.
Yeah, Kumi Tanioka, the composer for this game, really did an incredible job. So then we have 10-2 coming up next for Team Choco after this. Wow, this is going to be... It'll be like a 207 10 or something.
I think it's a high 206.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
That's a crazy, crazy good time.
That is a good time. However, Sydney has a 203.05.
Yeah, but also with 8 encounters. And
yeah, with 8 encounters, a high 206, low 207.
Let me just correct that. That was a 10 encounters.
You got 2 on the final stretch?
Yeah, it was awful.
Oh, no.
And again, encounters probably average 30 to 45 seconds each. So that is one heck of a good run.
And time.
Great run, Sydney.
Thanks.
10 encounters with a 207 is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, I think it would have been a 203 without the encounters.
Good job, guys.
Good job,
Can we just slide in here?
Yeah, no problem.
I think you guys can go ahead and take over for a little bit. So LittleTonbi is doing some overworld movement, so...
Hello, everyone. We are the 10-2. I am Kabetha. I am commentator number 1. This is Chris. Sorry.
Chris Denarium. I'm commentator number 2.
I am Backform. I'm commentating number 3 and also gonna speedrun soon.
Yes.
So you're gonna do that speedrunning thing?
Yeah.
He is the runner for Team Mog. But whilst we wait for him to start, he's going to join in on the commentary a little bit.
And the guy who's actually running right now is Trance Queener, which we were just debating before we came in here. We have no idea how to say Queener, but that's a different game, so that's fine.
Well, he didn't unmute his mic to tell us. So, Queener, we don't know.
Oh yeah, let the song play. Yeah, we can do that. This is the opening FMV of 10-2, in which High Summoner Yuna is putting on a pop concert.
This FMV is 4 minutes long, so if
enjoy.
You want to talk about the run, you can go for it. There's time.
So on Crystal Chronicles, I think Kotombi's going through the last miasma stream, about to head into Mount Valenge himself.
There's one more after this, actually.
Oh, is there one more after this?
Yeah, the one you need.
I'm a little bit distracted by the pop concert on the other stream.
I don't know how you couldn't
It's
be,
very
honestly.
distracting.
Yeah.
What version are you guys running 10.2 on, by the way? PS2, it's right there on the layout.
Yep.
Yeah. Or as it's otherwise known, the inferior version.
Wow, shots fired early on.
Everybody knows the superior version is the uninteractive Pokemon that is PC.
Kotombi already saying Masamune, please. Oh, by the way, that's Carbuncle. There's a little village here that's full of little carbuncles like him. He also lags the screen horribly.
Yeah, this final miasma stream is really laggy, like 10 FPS laggy.
Like they always run a little bit bad because like all the extra particle effects were kind of like making the GameCube kind of bleed. But having him run through while also trying to do the particle effects, it goes down to like, it feels like 10 frames per second. Moonless Starry Night is so good. VerySydney didn't cut on the little commentator stream, so I'm still listening to Moonless Starry Night anyway. And into Mount Valenge we go. And Kotombi doing a safety save. Thank you for that. Very infamously, on this very channel, I had the game crash at the final boss, which, if that happened here, it's still 20 minutes gone, but it's 20 minutes that, like, the run would still be able to finish at least.
Meanwhile, we're actually doing some gameplay now, in which Yuna is not actually who we thought Yuna was, so we have to kill her.
Yes.
Yes.
Most problems in this game are solved by attacking things with a sword.
That's a ribbon, that's not a Masamune. Come on, game. And that's nothing. So he's gonna take the death as well. So you can kind of know what's in the chest when it opens, depending on the color. Orange is strength, green is defense, and purple is magic. I forget what the defense one is. The strength one in the +5 chest is Masamune. The magic one is a ribbon. I don't know what the defense one is. Do you remember by any chance?
I think it's a mage's staff. That sounds right. Either a mage's staff. No, yeah.
For defense?
Yeah. Oh, for defense. Oh, sorry.
It's ribbon for magic. I know that.
Yeah. Aegis.
Aegis? Okay.
Yeah. Holy shield.
That's defense. So you can. Come on. He's looking for that Masamune.
Let's get a Masamune.
It's like a 1 and 4. You got 2 checks. Yeah, it's one of the most frustrating things about this game, actually, is that you can get all the way to the end of the game, and you still need at least one last random drop to go your way. And that's a ribbon.
And then the hardest boss in the game, too.
Yeah. So you get all the way to this point, you got all those encounters and different things on your time, and then all of a sudden you get here, and there's one last spot that something has to go your way, or you just give it up.
Got our first little bit of speedrun tech on the 10-2 side there. Not that it was very exciting, but we've just done the same thing they were doing in Crisis Core earlier, actually, and just hugging the wall to dodge a few encounters here at the beginning of the game. You're actually not going to see very many random encounters in this game, because very early on, we get an accessory that just means that we can skip them all, which is, you know, nice for the speedrun, not so nice for stat.
the wonders of charm.
There's a Masamune. There we go. So you can see now, LittleTonbi's going to equip his Phoenix down because he actually wants to keep this. He jokingly said in the chat, the game's telling him he should play Yuke instead because he's getting all the magic upgrades instead of the strength ones.
But he'll continue this run now.
Yeah, he's basically in go mode. Although, man, the game's not being nice to him today.
That's okay. One Masamune is workable.
Yeah, one is you basically need one, and then the second one is it's rare enough where you don't really account for it. If you get it, you're just like, oh, cool. So, and it's also nice because there are, as Ash was saying, there are 4 strength artifacts you can pick up in this dungeon, but the last one is stupidly far out of the way to get.
Yeah, it's not worth getting.
Yeah. It's only worth getting if you're just like tired of trying to get through Masamune. Like even with 2 attempts, you might have actually still saved time on going and getting the 4 normal strength upgrades. There's another +3. That's the Sasuke. No, I forget what the second part was. So he's at +8, unless I missed one of the other pickups he did. I'm curious if he's going to pick up Cure.
He got a lightning earlier in the level, so I believe he is.
Okay. Oh yeah, he's definitely going for it. I used to play super risky and just pick up, or you have to get Holy to kill this guy, and this is the only, one of the only enemies in the level that actually drops Cure. So you get Holy to make him tangible, otherwise you do like 1 damage per hit to him.
Yeah, you don't technically need Holy, but it makes it way faster.
It's... Yeah. He has a decent amount of health, and he takes almost no damage unless you make him tangible with Holy.
You basically need Holy. You don't actually, but you basically need Holy.
So, he picked up his Cure, so we're going to see Cure strats on LittleTonbi-san. Oh, he's trying to get past this guy. He's not letting him through. So enemies will actually, like, you can push them when they're not doing attack animations. And that guy is just standing in the middle of the thing doing attack animations and preventing him from getting through. It's kind of brutal, actually.
That's actually another nice thing about Selkie, is you can use a focus attack and jump past him.
You're right. I actually never realized that. I ran Lilty for a while, so a lot of those little nuances I probably wouldn't know. So he got a +3 and a +2 that I saw. And he's gonna play it safe and cast Cure, and then damage immediately. Oh, I just realized LittleTonbi's also doing 5 hearts as well.
Yep, and he's going the left route instead of the right route. So he will be picking up the other strength artifact that's like really out of the way. Not sure why he's doing this, honestly. It's not very fast.
LittleTonbi generally tends to play a little bit safer, as far as my knowledge. It's part of the reason he plays Clavin instead of Selkie as well. So. 63 with meat boost. He actually needs this.
Yeah.
So, if he doesn't, he has to get to that 65 mark. There are stat differences at the start as well. Selkie or Clavin is down 1 strength on Selkie. But yeah, he actually has to get the extra strength artifact, which kind of sucks, but there's nothing he can really do about it. This will actually pay for itself, given the amount of damage it's going to increase. Plus, let's say Mjolnir, Thor's Hammer.
+3. He's at 64 without strength.
Without a boost. Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate, but
But he will have 65 with strength boost.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
66.
what really matters. It's kind of a nice bonus when you don't have to worry about actually making sure you have a strength boost up. Oh, Mog.
Mog is stuck with the chalice, and we need the chalice to move on.
It's even worse because now Mog's gonna get tired very fast because Mog was running so hard that entire time.
Yeah. Okay, he got him unstuck. That was a very difficult section. But yeah, he's going into Meteor Parasite, phase 1 now.
Yeah, Meteor Parasite phase 1 and phase 2 should be roughly the same. So if you guys want to talk some 10-2 and get everyone acquainted, that would be lovely.
Yeah, sure. Welcome to 10-2, guys. We are 3 lovely ladies who run around the world hunting spheres. You may recognize 2 of them. They are wearing a bit less than they were in the last game. One of them's a bit new. But yeah, basically, this is the first proper level, and it's the only one where we really have any encounters, so it's actually kind of the most RNG dependent, other than some of the last fights. We'll get to that later.
So the way encounters work in 10.2 is a tad weird compared to other games. Generally, encounters are consistent across most Final Fantasies other than 9. In this area, however, you can get anywhere between 0 to 5 encounters.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So I guess that changes the game total of random encounters from between 0 to 5. So if you get bad luck, you can have 500% more encounters. Put it that way.
700% if you get 2 in Calmlands.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
You can get 3 as well, Chris. So,
3, 800%.
yeah.
Essentially, this game has the worst encounter luck in the whole series, is what we're saying.
I mean, I've played FF1, I'm not entirely sure. So all this fight is, you just need to steal from all of them. We need a certain amount of gold to get Charm back from Calmlands later on. And then it's about attacking them.
Yeah, each of these...
succession enough to build up a chain, and the more you build up the chain, the more damage.
Yeah, it's not that important in this fight, but we will be using the chain mechanic later to cheese some bosses.
Cheese is a
Interesting.
big word. It is using the game mechanics for once.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't think we're supposed to take down things at like level 2. I call that cheesing. Maybe I'm just really into cheese. That's a lot of tentacles on Crystal Chronicles right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
LittleTonbi finished up with phase 1 of the fight. There's 2 tentacles on either side, and then the meteor parasite itself is obviously covered in them. So, but yeah, these 2 phases are pretty easy. Phase 3, like you said earlier, is hard.
It's only the 3rd phase where I think we're gonna take over again. So right here, he's just using a giant projectile from Clavet, which actually, now that I remember, is really nice for phase 3 as well, because you can do pretty good damage from right next to the blind spot. Having a bit of fun with Phoenix down.
It's just a shining ball.
Basically, you have to channel Phoenix down like a spell. He's just kind of starting the channel and then not getting anywhere near actually casting it.
Yeah, he's spamming A, is what he's doing. It's pretty fun to do sometimes.
Again, having to use that meat to get his damage up a little bit. He should still have plenty for the rest of the run, I believe.
Yeah.
So, meanwhile, we are running. We've been set a challenge by LeBlanc, sorry. Oh jeez, what am I saying? LeBlanc's crew, who were like, we'll race you to the top, or we'll steal all the treasure. Which wouldn't really be that hard under normal circumstances, and since we're just running straight up, yeah, we'll be there in like 2 minutes. And we've been given a 6-minute time limit. Fine.
They give you a very generous amount of time to do this.
I mean, when I first played
one
this,
encounter, which is quite low. Sorry.
yeah, that's not good. Not good, not bad. When I first played this, it took me a really long time to work out how to jump. Like the fact that you can just hold down circle and you jump straight away. I kept trying to press circle at the right time, so I was really struggling to get around the map for this bit.
Yeah, the jumping mechanic can be a little finicky if you're not used to it. I remember when I first learned the run and I hadn't played 7 to 8 years, trying to jump was a nightmare for a while.
Yep, and then someone told us, yeah, you just hold down circle all the time and everything's fine. It was a revelation.
So, real quick, over on Crystal Chronicles, you see LittleTonbi's version of Meteor 3 looks quite a bit different. Since Clavit has a very safe ranged attack, he can actually do charge attacks without even aggroing the 2 little side plants, which is really, really good against this boss.
Yeah, it's very convenient. He has a strong ranged attack for this cycle.
Lilty could do that if Lilty could actually attack high enough to hit them, but Lilties are a little.
Yeah.
So over in 10.2, we're actually coming up to our first bit of speed tech within the game. This boss we stun lock. Now you can stun lock by spacing out your attacks, which means that he's constantly in taking damage animation, for lack of a better term, and he never gets out of it, so he never gets a turn whilst you're attacking him.
We're not massively underleveled at the moment, so it wouldn't be too bad if he did get a turn. Obviously, it's faster if he doesn't.
And Boris, that is the name of this boss.
This crab is called Boris. We're not joking.
Is the easiest boss that we stun lock. It's very difficult to get this one wrong. And yeah, he does it perfectly. And unsurprisingly, we make it to the peak first to get the sphere. And in comes a wounded LeBlanc. Both physically wounded and her ego wounded.
Yeah, and then she goes, oh, I didn't want it anyway. Because LeBlanc.
So be getting poked out by that attack on the Meteor Parasite. It's a bit unlucky. I would use a little more meat. This should be the end of this phase. And he'll have to move into just the last little bit of the game.
So yeah, Quinn is just going to be skipping the inverted commas comic relief here. Do you remember the really heartbreaking scene in FF10 where the Albed had to say goodbye to their home and we're all crying and singing and it was beautiful?
I do remember.
The character in that is now the captain of our ship and he's an idiot. Luckily, we're going to be skipping most of the cutscenes, so you don't have to put up with it. Okay, so we're now selling everything except the muscle belt, which ups our strength, for obvious reasons. and we're going to be taking that money and heading to the Calmlands.
We're going to get our wonderful charm bangle that they give you so early in the game. So no more encounters other than running up to the hovercraft. And we're also going to be buying several wristbands so everyone hits that little bit hard.
Also, guys, welcome to one of our favourite dress fairs for the 10-2 speedrun, the Black Mage Dress Fair. Anyone who doesn't know what the dress fair system is, it's basically the job system, but made more girly, because that was kind of their aesthetic for this game. They were like, we like the job system, but wouldn't it be better if everyone wore stupid outfits? So yeah, we will be using the Black Mage Dress Fair throughout the game, and it makes us extremely squishy, which is a big setback, but we can also abuse it quite thoroughly, so we'll be doing that.
One thing we forgot to mention in Crystal Chronicles, at the end of this fight coming up, if you talk to Lady Mia or Lady Mio too quickly, you can actually soft lock the game. So if you get to this point and you're spamming B to talk to Lady Mio, you'll have to redo all of the lenge if you saved. You have to reset your console. It's pretty unfortunate.
That really does sound like quite the downside.
Yeah, it's not great. But I believe it's only in the Japanese version. I don't think it happens in other versions.
Nice little simultaneous kill there by LittleTonbi.
So no soft lock, we're good.
So yeah, we just went and bought some credits from one of the two opposing, I think, the publicity companies in 10-2. There's a little mini game where you're meant to go around the world and try and convince civilians that they really
Advertise
want to
gambling to children is what ends up happening.
That's
Yeah,
basically it. We
Yeah.
just we go around Spira and we say, hey, why don't you waste your future gambling with these people? But we don't do that because it's not fast and we wouldn't want to anyway. But we will take advantage of their shop, which gives us the charm bangle really early on.
I do also wish that there was context that would make that better, but there is not. What is around Spira telling everyone?
Yep. I think there's a corresponding mini game where we're asked by, I think it's an old lady asks us to go and find a bride for her son or something.
The father asks you to find a bride for his son. Yes, you don't have to do that for 100% though.
But yeah, it's similar. You just have to go up to random women throughout Spira and just say, will you marry this guy? So yeah, 10-2 everyone. Also, Zanakin's become a theme park.
Yeah.
Actually, looking at it, LittleTonbi's on a really good pace in Crystal Chronicles too. Actually,
Yeah, he's only.
he was. I think we kind of accidentally absorbed 2 minutes of Crisis Core as well, and he's on. So he'd be here like a 157 almost. That's pretty solid pace actually. So I would not expect LittleTonbi to have any issues with this segment. You guys can keep talking about 10-2. I just realized that.
No, it's cool. Is this, are we coming up on final boss in a bit?
Not exactly.
Not quite.
We got a couple bosses.
Okay.
We got two
Final
bosses
boss
left.
rush.
We were given very concise descriptions of what the final boss looked like.
Yeah, we were told it was light blue and dark blue, I believe, was the
Light
exact
blue and a
description.
spider dude followed by cloud person.
That's pretty close.
It's not the most far off thing. I always thought of it as giant orange, like / brown dragon into sausage
Big-
on a stick.
Sausage on a stick.
Yeah, big white tower that comes from a portal. It's he's pretty interesting looking.
Yeah,
But
he's got a nice little like pole that he stands on that prevents you from hitting him.
he's got like a cannon arm. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So he's a sausage on a stick with a cannon arm.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a pretty apt description of it.
I'll have to pay attention to the boss this time. I'm intrigued. now.
That's alright. No one else has really seen the final boss in this game anyway. We're kind of revealing it for the time to the.
Yeah, not much is going on in 10-2 at the moment anyway. Unless you cared about minor characters in the first one, who are even more minor now.
I don't know. The Kindergarten sounds super important to me.
The Kindergardians!
So the Kindergardians have no purpose in 10.2 other than to deliver you 1.5 minutes of uninterruptible cutscenes with unskippable dialogue. The only solace you can take is the fastest option is for Yuna to say that she does not remember who Parse
Oh yeah! Parse's like, hey, Yuna, remember me? And she's like, nah. Who are you?
It's an enjoyable moment, if not for the spite. And yeah, we're just trying to find a password that is, as everybody knows, Keymon.
Keymon.
And the battles are mostly just holding X down so we can attack.
I particularly like how Riku's voice is really excited there, and her early PlayStation 2 sprite just is dead-eyed and, you know, feels nothing inside.
You say that, but it doesn't get much better in the PC version either.
No.
Alright, we're almost at Reem.
Yep, almost at the second to last boss. There's a bit of a cutscene, just like with Sydney, but
We get to see Mio get thrown on the ground again.
Yep. Big bird man. That's all you are.
I forgot he had feathers too. Yeah, he's like a bird dragon.
He's pretty cool looking.
His final form is slightly less cool looking.
Yeah.
Is that the sausage?
Yeah, although it's
Yeah.
significantly more dangerous.
Dangerous.
This guy's not so cool looking when he tries to chest bump you and can't hit you.
I mean, he's a lot better than Boris the Crab.
Yeah, that's true.
Fool. Slam.
Imagine trying to describe Final Fantasy to aliens. Yeah, well, we're 3 underdressed girls, and we fight a crab called Boris. And,
I think the aliens would get lost at the name. Wait, it's Final Fantasy, but it's the 10th one. Wait, what? No, but 2? What?
yeah,
you mean
it's
12?
It's 10.
No.
But 2.
I mean, I'm a human and I don't really understand it most of the time.
You're a human, really?
Just about.
Yeah, I don't think that's limited to the plot. So yeah, LittleTonbi is going for the same little loop where he's going to try to chest bump LittleTonbi, and LittleTonbi is going to just back away. Not much to say. This boss kind of speaks for itself when he just can't actually damage you.
Less than half health now. He's shooting lasers.
Yeah, he's getting shredded here.
Yeah, we don't have a lot to say here either. Other than we've just made it through Zanarkand, which is now a theme park and a home for lost monkeys. Yeah, it turns out that Sid is the one who turned the theme park into Zanarkand, the Zanarkand into theme park. So Yuna's not too happy about that. Can you blame her?
Alrighty, so we beat the penultimate boss pretty much perfectly. So into the final boss, and LittleTonbi is using Cure Struts. We'll get to see those, which introduces more randomness into the run because this run needs more of it. And he's going to have to deal with like randomness on the spells he's going to pick up from these cure drops. We'll see what he gets. Again, Firaga, Thundaga, Blizzaga, Curaga, or just straight invulnerability are the options. One of those is significantly better than the others. I'll give you a hint, it's not Curaga. Although Curaga can actually be useful because I've actually used it to pick up other memories.
Yeah, you can get another memory if it hits it. It's a little thing.
I just want to know why Cure. Like, wouldn't Life or anything else work? No, it's got to be Cure.
Yeah, Life would probably make more sense. I think it's probably Cure because they wanted you to get more memories, like in
They
your
also just
inventory.
probably assume everybody has Cure, so you get it on accident.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it really explains, hey, cast Cure on this to make it turn into a spell. So probably just like assuming people would take damage, cast Cure on themselves, and then like, oh hey, that thing turned into a little memory or like a little orb.
Yeah.
That's my assumption anyway.
Maybe they explained it somewhere in the game. I can't remember if they do, but yeah.
They have very little time to explain it.
Yeah.
So they kind of like go over like how a memory is important and stuff. Don't explain why little pictures of your family and friends should have Cure cast on them to turn into magic to cast on the boss. And
Here's the
final
sausage
boss.
on the stick. Big white tower guy with a cannon arm.
I mean, it's like a mechanized tentacruel, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. He's pretty beefed up though. He's got some beefy arms.
So we're gonna look for that. It's kind of scary. He's got this big slam attack that's actually kind of hard to dodge. Yeah, you see right here. He's gonna cast Cure. It's gonna drop. We're gonna get the question mark, question mark, question mark. That little fire spell is horrible and terrifying, by the way, and actually probably scarier for LittleTonbi because he doesn't have any real. He doesn't have burst movement, and he doesn't have the dodge that Selkies have that would actually make it work.
And it one-shots.
Yeah, it one-shots. It does 5.5 hearts of damage and sets you on fire. Ooh, I thought that slam would have killed. I thought that would have killed.
No, yeah, that gets you to half a heart. The only attacks that one-shot are the fire circle and the lasers from the top part.
Ah, okay, cool.
I believe. Nice. Maybe the.
There we go. We're gonna be blessing RNG here.
Yep.
I'm surprised he's not. Oh, he got it immediately. So now he takes no damage from anything.
Yeah, so he'll either 2-cycle this, or maybe even 1-cycle this.
Yeah. I hope he's got the right amount of attack. He might need to get a second shield before he can call it a 1-cycle.
Yeah.
I hope he puts on a Phoenix down soon. I'm a little bit worried that at the timeout he's not ready for it. He's too good. I'm thinking about how bad I am, and I've done that plenty of times. Yeah. Oh, that's another one.
Yeah,
So
he's likely going to one cycle.
yeah,
probably.
this is a very likely one cycle now. He's gonna re-up his strength. He's at 64. That might cost him the one cycle, actually. Oh, we got it.
Looking from that was a one cycle. Nice.
That is the nice thing about cure strats. You get your first two things, and you get a just straight up like double shield like that. You can pretty easily, like, it's so free to one cycle that boss when that happens. So that's gonna be like a 2-10-35. That's gonna probably demolish my PB, and
That's gonna be close to mine.
yeah, in this setting too. So that's crazy good.
Yeah.
All right, so we got like the last little 2 minutes worth of cutscenes. And before we do the final hit on Meteor Parasite, which will end the run.
I'll let you call time for Tombi.
Yeah, he asked me to in general too. He's like, hey, can you let them know for me? I'm like, sure, no problem.
So on 10-2 side, we've actually just found the plot. We're however long into the story.
We found a dude who sort of looks like Tidus, but doesn't outside of them sharing blonde.
We're almost there. Come on. Loading in, runs up, and time.
Okay.
Congratulations!
Yay!
Congratulations.
Just real quick, I want to thank Ash for helping me with all this commentary and listening to all my inane rambling. And
No
then
problem,
just
Ghoul.
huge shout outs to both Sydney and LittleTonbi-san, or LittleTonbi as he's known on Twitch. Please follow all of them. Like, these guys are awesome, and like these runs were incredible for like this setting. So
Yeah, for a marathon relay setting, those were two very good Crystal Chronicle runs.
I don't know
yeah,
if either of them want to say anything real quick, but yeah, those are crazy good. So if not, we'll just hand it over to the 10-2 crew.